View. So it's crossed Highway 34 right here. That's the new scan that just updated into there. Here's Red Oak. Here's the tornado. I'm certain it's probably still there. Let's see if we've got anything as far as, doesn't look like a debris showing up within there. Let me take that off here. Reflectivity,
rest of the Red Oak
velocity.
area, continue to give it a couple more minutes before you come out of that safe place. But again, this is trying to shift a little bit more to your north side as it pushes more northeast. And as another radar update, again, just pushing it a little bit farther up to the north. Tim circling it there for you right there. So this is just now on the north side of Red Oak, continue to push farther north and east. Tim, any town names popping up here in the path of this a little bit more up to the north?
Yeah,
like
so,
Elliott?
Yeah, it looks like that couplet, that radar couplet there, the town of Elliott would be next. I can put a ruler on this real quick just to see how far away we're looking. So we're looking at about 4 or 5 miles at max, because we are dealing with data that is a few seconds old here. So for the town of Elliott, this looks like you are next in the path of this. I do have from storm spotters out of Nebraska Kearney. They are on the storm, and we do have confirmation that this is still on the ground. So just keep in mind, this is now, it looks like, on the northeast side of Red Oak, just crossed Highway 48.
Yeah, Tim, we'll zoom in there a little bit closer. We'll try to get some of these other road names to pop up here too. Again, you mentioned 48 right there is kind of where it's crossing. But over towards, looks like the Alphabet Avenues, J, K Avenues here kind of next up for some of this. We're again getting a little bit farther north, so we're talking now 150th Street up towards 140th Street with this. Again, there's the latest update coming in, still that strong rotation there. And again, last check, still a confirmed tornado on the ground. This is moving again up towards J Avenue, K Avenue, and I assume the alphabet continues, L, M, and there's N Avenue. So those areas up towards Elliott, and again, your road numbers are going to get smaller and smaller as the storm gets a little bit farther up to the north too. But right now, probably about 150th to 140th, and then as you get up towards 110th, of course, there's more of the Elliott area. So all those areas I just mentioned, that's where the, at this point, confirmed tornado is. So Elliott, we need you in your safe place right now if you have not already gone there. And then right now, that's the end of the tornado warning, but I'm going to assume that this is going to get extended a little bit more up to the north and east, possibly even into Cass County. We'll wait and see when that new warning comes in. So
Yeah,
again, the
Mark,
purple box is the confirmed tornado, and then just south of that, the red box is enough rotation that there could be a tornado, but no confirmation at that point there in Page County. Sorry,
yeah,
Tim,
no, you're fine. No, so in the National Weather Service, just an update on the tornado warning, that confirmation of the one near Red Oak. The rotation has weakened. They're continuing to watch it though. Next area in the path of that is going to be the town of Elliott. So the storm could be in the process of just redeveloping itself. We're in those severe storm ingredients where typically you would just see tornadoes kind of rope out and hopefully just kind of go away, and the storm would kind of die off altogether. I think we're in a different environment here though, so this will be something that we just kind of want to watch for the next 5-10 minutes, see what the radar is showing and see if the storm is indeed actually maintaining its strength. Yeah, Mark, this other tornado warning now east of the town of Essex, and kind of a couple of the towns that are going to be next: Stanton, let's see, Hepburn, and then also Basilica. I think I may have pronounced that, but those are going to be our next towns in the path of the southern tornado warning that we currently have. So,
and Tim, real quick, which part of the storm are we looking at here? Is it right in the county border, or is it that back end piece of it?
Yeah, it looks like we're kind of just south of the county border here. So I'm going to use the cursor and kind of show where the rotation is at. Yep.
Okay. Can we see very well with the winds? Or I know that one's not been as clear with that, but yeah, that's. I mean, there's definitely rotation there. But.
Yeah, and we might actually have two different areas of rotation actually within this. One just west of Stanton. Just west of Stanton, another area of rotation starting to form on radar. And then we also have the other one, which is, I would say, maybe 3 to 5 miles west of the town of Hepburn. So, Mark, it looks like south and east of Red Oak, that's where we're seeing an area of rotation. And then just west of Hepburn, that's where we're seeing another area of rotation. So 3 spots that we are watching right now.
This is toward. There's our strongest circulation now on live dual pulse Super Doppler 7 radar. See the flashing purple line? That's because of the confirmed tornado. This is now east of State Highway 48 and north of 150th Street. And this is the area of best rotation now, which is a little bit looser, right? We've got the best toward here and the best away there. So maybe this is lifting a bit. Boy, Elliott is really close in here, and Elliott has a fair amount of population there. You can see the community right there. So that is, if you're there, you should be in a tornado safe shelter. As we have seen this be a tornado, and it's tracking up just very near Elliott right now, just south, a little bit looser because these are toward and these are away, and the radar at this point is 3,200 feet above the ground. So we're looking up into the cloud level. And before, when we had the tornado, there's a new scan that just came in for us, the tight red and brightest green were right next to each other. So they're still pretty tight right here, just south of Elliott. So it's going in your direction. And if I drag this back, it's still here, right? So it crossed State Highway 48 right there, right here, Stennett, and still shows up. So just about into Elliott right now. It's going to be close as it passes very near there. And it's still not a confirmed tornado down into Page or southern Montgomery counties here. All right, so this still looks fairly substantial. Look at the correlation coefficient. I never saw anything. This would show a blue blob if there was some non-meteorological targets in there. Hard to say on that. There's reflectivity, the normal radar. There's the velocity. Elliott, the next little community, right in the path with the tornado warning until...
Just so we can kind of pinpoint where all three of these are at. So right here we have just west of Hepburn, we have just outside of Stanton, and then a little area still nearby Elliott. Those three areas are currently where we're seeing the potential for a tornado at this time.
And Tim, farther north, I mean, those storms still going healthy enough to be severe, or at least severe thunderstorm warnings, it looks like?
Let me zoom out on this. Currently, it looks like, and I'll take the radar product off just so we can see the severe thunderstorm warnings that are currently in effect. Yeah, that basically goes from Carroll to Audubon to Atlantic, and all of that's warned for 60-mile-per-hour wind. Yeah,
so Cass County there, Audubon and Carroll too. So again, that's that part of the storms. Again, getting closer and closer to being out of western Iowa, but still a little bit of time to go here. And kind of our biggest areas of concern still Page and Montgomery counties there, with at least at one point confirmed tornado near Red Oak. No longer confirmed, but still Elliott. We need you in your safe place as that rotation gets up towards you. And same thing with other areas there in north central, or kind of northeast, we'll call it, north central and northeast parts of Montgomery County there too, nearby Elliott and southward, where that area of concern still is. So again, we're going to keep watching these here just for a few more minutes. Current time 2:50. Want to stay with this just a little bit longer till we get a couple more updates coming in from these spots. But again, we're going to kind of keep our eyes on these a little bit longer.
And a storm spotter report saying they're seeing a funnel cloud. This was 2 to 3 minutes ago. They had a funnel cloud report 4 miles west of the town of Hepburn. So that's where we're kind of looking here. This area of rotation. There was a storm spotter seeing a funnel cloud briefly, and we're seeing too, it looks like that rotation's maybe a little bit tighter there. So Mark, we might want to just kind of watch this here for a moment and see.
Yeah.
That radar scan, let's just make sure that's not also scanning into some of the hail. Sometimes the hail, if the Doppler radar is scanning into all those ice chunks that are in the clouds, it can really contaminate the data and show us something that maybe it's not actually ground truth. So just want to make sure that we're seeing something correct before we
By the way, while Tim looks at that a little closer on a different radar system, Stanton, again, this is getting pretty close to you at this point as it continues to move up to the northeast. So Stanton, that original tornado was north of you, but this one down to your south, definitely getting a little bit too close for comfort. So either way, you do want to be taking shelter. Same thing over towards Villisca area. And Hepburn, I think you're probably in the clear from this one. This will be passing to your north. But Villisca over towards Stanton, that area, definitely want to be taking shelter at this point just in case, as this tornado warning continues for that area of rotation, which again right there has really crossed over more from Page up into Montgomery County at this point. That black line right there, that's going to be your county border. And there's all that hail, especially just south of Red Oak, Tim. Looks like some decent inch and a half size hail right now coming down in those areas, moving up towards Stanton.
Right, yeah, so let me get a box put up on that tornado warning just to see what the Weather Service is warning it for. It looks for like 1 3/4 inches is the current hail size that they have this tornado warned storm also warned for. And so we'll and it looks like, Mark, we may have had a new tornado warning just get issued here. So let me move up. This is going to be continuing with that circulation, the tornado that occurred in Red Oak. The circulation is still maintaining itself nearby the town of Elliott, and it looks like the National Weather Service has continued that further east then into, I believe we're getting into the far northeastern parts of Montgomery County and then into Cass County, Iowa.
Yeah, a big chunk of this is going to be more for Cass County. Atlantic looks like you're just on the very northern edge of that tornado warning up there. Same thing with Lewis. So again, better chance of this staying a little bit down to your south, but you want to keep paying attention to this. There's that rotation right there. So many road lines on here too. It's hard to spot the county borders, but that's going to be the county border right there on the edge. So we're kind of at this point in the next couple minutes moving away from Elliott. So Elliott, a few more minutes in your safe place before you come back up. And now this is moving more northeast up into Cass County at this point, really kind of south central part of Cass County here with this rotation. So Yankton Road up towards Victoria Road, and again see some of those going north to south roads. We're probably over towards 609th, 610th, here's 612 and 620th, it looks like right there. So that's kind of get your bearings straight in some of these areas. Doesn't help that sometimes the road name's one way and sometimes it's the other way. Makes it hard to read for me. But again, Cass County, this is moving into the southern parts of York County now. Again, at times this was a confirmed tornado over near Red Oak. Still enough rotation. Still no longer confirmed tornado, but again, that was the area that did produce a tornado. So at least still probably a funnel cloud, if not more or less there. So something to be worried about too.
Yeah, and Mark, just zooming down, moving the radar down to the area between Stanton and Villisca. It still looks like a broad but defined area on the radar image, and there's another update. So we're looking at, based on the radar here, we're looking at 250th Street and a couple of the county, like you said, the alphabet streets. Q Avenue, I think is what I'm seeing on here, approaching Highway 71. So the areas next that will be kind of right where the circulation is at, in between Stanton and Villisca. And we're seeing it right at the intersection. It's approaching the intersection of Highway 34 and Highway 71. There's a couple of county parks. It's the Hackle-Barney Woods County Park is what's showing up on the map. So just a couple of points of reference on where this area of circulation is at.
Yeah, and again, it's just kind of moving straight up to the northeast. So we're going to continue to watch more of these areas as it continues to progress farther northeast. Again, also no confirmation on this one, but we want to treat it like it is a tornado because it very well could be. But again, we're getting a little bit closer away from Red Oak on both of these. Again, Red Oak, you're in the clear. Nothing to worry about for you as far as tornado stuff. Still some hail, heavy rain in your area, but as far as the tornado threat, this is now northeast of you. So there's Griswold. Again, we're just on the border here of Pott, Cass, and that would be Montgomery. Really at this point, we're more into Cass County, if anything. So Griswold, you're close enough. It's probably going to stay just to the south of the center of Griswold, but safe place just in case. But again, just right now down to the south of you, moving up to the northeast between Lewis and Cumberland, as that's going to continue to push more in that direction. But
yeah, Mark, so a new tornado warning. So this is the National Weather Service office in Des Moines is essentially starting to take over on some of these warnings for both Cass, Adams, and Taylor counties. And so they've went ahead and issued a tornado warning for that storm that's in Page County, now moving into Montgomery County because of just the strong signs of rotation right now that we're seeing within this storm. A lot of hail in parts of northeastern Montgomery County, but then this right here, this appendage is what we're most concerned about right now. For the storm that's currently in Cass County, broad rotation at best, but I think, Mark, this is definitely the one that seems to be the strongest area of rotation right now.
Yeah, just down to that south of that gap there on the radar information, you can see that rotation. Again, especially more heading over towards Villisca right now. Stanton, again, be in your safe place, but I think this is trending a little bit closer to Villisca than it is Stanton. So Nottoway kind of up next for this, and areas farther north towards Carbon. And eventually over towards Corning. Corning, hopefully this is going to stay to your north, but continue to keep a close eye on it.
I believe that's Highway 34 and Highway 71 come together. And that is a nasty looking funnel right here. Can't tell with the trees. I imagine he would know if it's on the ground there or not, but tornado warning in effect for this area. The other warning set to expire at 3. Oh, look at that right here.
Yeah, and they just recently newly issued a tornado warning. It looks like kind of in front of these boxes, a little bit further to the east.
Yep.
Out till 3:45, and those counties would be Adair, Adams, Cass, and Union, Iowa. And on top of that, a flash flood warning out for Adair, Audubon, Carroll, Cass, Crawford counties. Those would be the counties in our viewing area, and that is out until 9 p.m.
Wow, look at this, Luke. My goodness, let me get out of the way there. This is Nathan with the funnel. I mean, tracking just barely east of him. Look at the lift going on right there. I don't know if he can pan his camera now. Look at that. So I gotta believe there's, I think that's tornado right here. At the very least, it's you can see the air lifting up in there. Man, he's right there watching this for sure. You can see there you go. Look at that right there. Wow, is Nathan close to that? There's the lift going on the ground here. So this is that newly formed funnel. And he is closer to Stanton than he is Villisca. Look at that thing. That's crossing that Highway 34. Right now, look at the car stopped. So here's the funnel. And you can see we're getting, maybe there's little bits of tornado on the ground here. What a spot. He's in there. This, again, tracking. Look at the car stopped right there, waiting for it to cross. So look at that. So the air is rushing up into this thing here. There's the funnel. Look at the cars right here. And the air blowing into it here. So look at this funnel. And we'll call it a tornado because it appears that there is some dust and stuff being kicked up through here. So this is just barely north of Villisca and a few miles east of Stanton. Look at those funnels right there. Incredible. And you can see these little protrusions here, but there was dust being kicked up. You see it through here, little swirls. I'm looking off in the distance of the monitor, and I'm not, my eyesight's not super great, but it looks like you know, open country here for the most part as this is tracking just barely north of Villisca, Iowa, and crossing US Highway 71 right there as it moves farther and farther east. What a spot he was in to see that. So confirmed tornado warning there. Flashing purple, obviously, as we've seen it right here. And north of Villisca, Iowa now. I'm going to get out of the way here so I can zoom in and show you the communities. This is right 34 and 71. Tenville is a little marker on the map. Doesn't show much, so hopefully not many, maybe just a few homes there. We're pretty rural here. Ceola, another little marker on the map. Don't see anything there, so that's good. So we're pretty rural here into very southeast Montgomery County, tracking up. The other earlier circulation that we had is now near Lyman, but not quite as pronounced, and getting out of our velocity range here. Okay. Let's get back to this one here. How about the correlation coefficient? Yeah, it sort of shows it up south there. Doesn't look like we had anything maybe south of Stanton there. How about on here? Maybe looks like this would be a bit of debris here. That's just northeast of Stanton, right there, within that. Sure looked like there was some dust and debris kind of swirling up there. There's the velocity couplet, still very tight. Just now.
So that rotation has weakened some, but there's still enough there that we have got that warning out there. And zooming back up a little bit further, upwards towards Ottoman, a little bit messier. A lot of times along the front edge of this line, you get what's called inflow into the storms, and that can actually trigger some of these shear markers out there, this shear thing that we've got there. So as we hop back over to, radar, Weather Service is saying considerable damage is being added to the Adams County storm. So again, this line is going to be strengthening. We're going to be seeing winds potentially in excess of 70 miles per hour, even upwards of 80 to 90 miles per hour as it starts to tap into that energy into the atmosphere that's out ahead of it. And you can see it's not too far right now from areas like Lake Panorama. As we zoom down a little bit further, Winterset, you're going to have to keep an eye on this as it pushes its way your direction, because this is going to be pretty close. Creston, this is just going to pass to the north of you. We head upwards towards Audubon, Carroll County areas. Again, those storms starting to work their way towards the eastern edge of that polygon. So we'll see if they reissue. But
Trailer flipped over. Look at those trees right there. So for sure, that looks, I'm guessing, well, could be Highway 34 or Highway 71 because he had to cross both of them. Sometimes it's hard for the cars to get out of the way where they came through there. But now he's tracking perhaps farther off to the east here in the wake of that. So where he would have been, that looked like that crossed right about here, the highway. And now this is our area of best rotation, just to the northeast of Villisca now. Moving away. Confirmed signature. That's tornado debris signature that shows up on the map here. That says it would have been just north of Villisca where there was the debris.
And a few minutes ago, Bill, Des Moines National Weather Service, they continued that tornado warning that we're looking at right now, and they threw the considerable damage tag on it as well.
Right. I mean, Luke, it showed up in purple on our links display here, which is typically how it shows, right, when we have a confirmed tornado. But yeah, damage, and you know, hard to tell how big this is now, but you know, it is tracking northeastward, and it looks as strong as it's looked right now. So it's hard for Nathan. You know, where he was just barely north and west of the tornado, which is a really close spot. I mean, he had to be certainly within a mile, maybe within a half a mile where that thing tracked through and then out to the northeast. And now it is entering more rural northwestern Adams County. This is not going to hit Corning. So that is certainly good.
So again, we've really at this point crossed more into Adams County. Again, right here, we've got that new information from the radar. Right there, kind of that area of rotation. And again, that of course is where that confirmed tornado is right now. And maybe where we see some of that green, a little bit of debris flying into the sky too from this. And again, could be a shingle, could be a twig, could be a branch, who knows? But something in the air there, probably it looks like, that is not either rain or hail is basically what the radar is showing us there. And again, just because it shows those colors doesn't mean everywhere there's debris. It just means where it's lined up with certain other things, like, again, this confirmed tornado that could be some debris being lofted into the air. Who knows, maybe a corn stalk from last season, we just don't know. But definitely enough rotation. Again, with that tornado, again, uplift inside of it, that radar is finding a little bit of something there in the sky above the tornado. So carbon, again, this is very close to you, moving towards you right now, especially for the the western side of carbon, and eventually the northern side of carbon, as this kind of takes its way northeast, very close to the town of Carbon, if not skimming parts of Carbon as it moves through. And again, confirmed tornado, so we do want to take this very, very seriously, even more so than other warnings too. Just an idea, Corning, just to give you an idea too, it does look like Corning, you're going to stay south of this, but we'll continue to keep you updated on this one too, as this thing passes hopefully up to your north, again, a little bit closer to the Carbon area.
The traditional radar look, just to see if we're also seeing maybe another area of rotation developing just southwest of Corning. Seemed like there on the radar we were maybe seeing that, but this is definitely where we're seeing right now the main area of rotation where the tornado is currently. I'm going to circle it here on the map. This is where we're seeing the current area where the tornado is at, and then monitoring right now for another area that's trying to develop a couple of miles southwest of the town of Corning.
So again, Corning might be safe just to be in your safe place.
And there it is.
There's the new tornado warning.
There it is.
So Corning, definitely 100% into your safe place now. Oh, sorry, Tim, I thought you were going.
Yeah, I'll switch back over to the Doppler velocity imagery. So again, two areas of rotation that we're seeing right now.
More impressive all of a sudden.
Yep. Yeah. So just west of Corning, folks, a couple miles west of there.
Right along 34, this is going to cross over. It looks like right now already is. Just again, handful of miles off to the west there of Corning. So
this is going to come really close to you. You can see it's have that northeastward component, so likely going to pass just on that northern edge of town. But what often happens,
it's now a funnel, but that's what came by just north of Villisca, and Nathan is tracking that. And still a very pronounced funnel, and you can see how you just got to be in the right spot to be able to see the tornado there. And then, whoa, look at this, tightening up again here. Just got to be so vigilant. But this other area that I'm highlighting is going to be closer to Corning. That's it right there. And Luke, you said new tornado warning there till 4?
Yes, that is until 4 p.m. for Adair, Adams, Madison, Taylor, and Union counties in Iowa.
Wow. All right. Well, here's the funnel, just a little farther to the north there. And if you're in Corning, you're in the path of this next circulation. Boy, Nathan is just in the spot there. Wait, so he's showing the funnel there. It's amazing. Driving, able to show this kind of stuff, the feed that we get from in here. But there's the funnel, and it's tough. You don't know, that circulation might be a lot lower and it just isn't showing up. Sometimes you'll see a funnel like this, and then all of a sudden you'll see something spin up on the ground, like maybe down through here as it's sort of stretched out, what's feeding up. It is getting a little ways away, but you can see right through here and down on the ground. There you go. Look at that. Wow. So the funnel aloft, but obviously a tornado connection to the ground here, spinning up right through here. Wow. Unbelievable. Northwest Adams County, about 5-6 miles northwest of Corning, but you see it spinning right through here. And it's tough, we're relying on a cell signal to provide this coverage for us, which is just amazing out in that area. Look at it, still right here. Incredible. So yeah, and here's the funnels kind of snaking down now. If you're only focused on the cloud layer, sometimes you miss what's happening near the ground. So Nathan, just vigilant, being able to look and see and look not just up at the cloud, but get the view down toward the ground, and more damage showing up in here. Hopefully that's just trees, looks like it is. This is the almost transparent funnel, but a tornado occurring in that area still now northwest of Corning. There, funnel showing up better here. And the funnel shows when the air is rising most vigorously and you have enough condensation to produce that cloud that we see. But sometimes it's almost invisible, but the wind is circulating enough to cause damage, which we've seen through this spot here. All right, obviously some debris in the air, and you see on our scan there the damage indicator. This is out of our dual pole range. Luke, you probably can switch our radar back over to conventional mode because we're
Sure.
a little out. There's the funnel again. All right, so this again is just 6-7 miles northwest of Corning in Iowa. And got this cell phone signal here, this feed from Nathan there, right here. It's amazing, and you'll see it occasionally just a little ways aloft there too, and then the base of the cloud itself. Wow. Look at that. Still the confirmed tornado.
Rotation, and you're seeing it demonstrated in real time right here as we have a tornado on the ground near the town of Corning, it appears, by looking at the velocity signature from the Omaha radar here. Right between Carbon and Corning is where I would put it, is where that tornado that you see on your on the screen there on camera is. I was going to take a look at, I can't see much in the way of debris. We're kind of in a part of the state where the cell signal isn't so good, so my radar isn't refreshing too well, but that is a tornado on the ground right there.
Let's go back to our radar, and we'll show you in this double box here exactly where Jason is. And I know that area, it is tough for cell signal, and that's where we're running off to give you this live view. But you can see that that area that is that spinning point that we have right here between Corning and then back up to the north and to the west. Tornado on the ground. What you're seeing in this box next to me is this live view where we have Jason Parkin and Lee Rouse that are out in one of our storm cars.
And you can see kind of where that base is lowering a little bit, possibly on the left there. A little bit hard to see, but can we, let's keep this in the corner and keep watching this, if we can do that as we're breaking down the radar. Let's see if we can keep watching.
All right.
And it also looks like a trained storm. Oh no, actually this is the National Weather Service saying they have 2 tornadoes on the ground currently, one near Corning and the second north of Carbon.
Wow. Yeah, so we're watching this area here. Let's zoom back in on the velocity scan here. Wow, this is tough with this one coming into Corning. So this is the one that we had tracked earlier. And we had talked about Carbon. That's the storm that Nathan initially saw. And now it looks like this is a tornado. And this is going to come dangerously close to Corning, but maybe just to the northwest. I mean, here's Corning. We got to have several thousand people there in Corning. Katie, if you could look that up real quick. But here is the SRV right there. So right here, 1,500 population of Corning, but this is going to go just on the northwest edge of Corning, so that would be good. That would be fantastic. We've seen some damage. You know, you hope people can get out of the way of these things, but likely a tornado here in the central part of Adams County, which is where Corning is the county seat of, and this would be the area we're looking at here. This is tracking east-northeastward, but close,
Wall
just
of wind now
northwest
pushing
of.
pretty far into the eastern edges of Carroll County, so that's moving away from the actual city of Carroll at this point, which is good, but just sound like we've got some new issues up there with some of those reports coming in. Okay, looks like we're back down into Adams County now with our 2 confirmed tornadoes. Right here has now crossed over 148 right there, so this is pretty much heading just straight due off to the east of Carbon as it continues to push northeast up towards Carl. And then again, we also have that other area of concern farther south.
Farther north.
Okay, am I getting the two?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, right there.
Yeah, and it looks like
Okay.
the one farther north, Mark, it looks like that rotation has really weakened quite a bit. I'm not sure that that's as much of a concern any longer.
Red and green
We're
come
probably-
together. That's the tornado warning here, just into southern portions of Audubon County, and that does include the Guthrie Center. Guthrie Center, you're included in this tornado warning, so this will be down the line from you. I'll put a quick track on this one, just so we get an idea of some places in line, next in line here. We've got Guthrie Center in about the next 20 minutes, so you want to get to your safe place now or start heading there.
Big
Springbrook
tornado
State.
on the screen right now. This one formed to the south of where the first big tornado we showed you was. I would put it north of Corning, judging by what I'm seeing on the velocity signature from the Omaha radar. I don't know if you guys can see it on the camera. It's just to the left of one of the big wind turbines there, but it's a big one.
Yeah, we can see it. We can see
on the
the
ground.
outline is very, very strong.
Yeah, very calm where we are. A lot of lightning around us, but that is a large tornado on the ground. It appears to me to be north of Corning is where that would be. And I'm not able to get the kind of radar data you guys are getting, but oh goodness, I just looked at the correlation coefficient and there's definitely debris being lofted by that tornado. So we'll probably stay here on this one as long as we can.
We've been watching that,
Yeah.
Jason. You can see the debris signature. It is so strong, as you were talking about this area, just to that northern side of this Carl area of Carl, southwest of Messina, and then here we are just to the northwest of Prescott. That's where we have that strong debris, and that debris signal is, of course, pulling in the data from our radar, which actually shows that there is a very good evidence that this is probably trees, buildings. Hopefully everyone is safe in that area, but we are going to see, I think, quite a bit of damage out of this. And in fact, the National Weather Service has said that they have what they are looking at for considerable damage right along this area. So this was a kind of tornado watch that was put out. It's specific to damaging tornadoes, and that's what we have going on. You can see in this picture beside me the lightning that's coming off of this particular tornado right on the ground there with Jason and Lee Rouse. And Jason, as you keep talking,
that rotation has continued to maintain its strength. So this isn't a situation that's going to be going away anytime soon. Again, we talked about the potential for long track tornadoes out there, and this could potentially be that. And we can see 2 areas of circulation again. So the one to the north kind of sparked back up. So to the northeast of Corning, northwest of Prescott, and then another area of rotation to the south of Corning. And there's another one just to the northwest of Mount Etna. So this whole line right now has been spinning, and we're seeing that continue to spin. Those rotational couplets continue to tighten up as they've made their way into this better atmosphere. And that's why we've got this kind of elongated area of tornado warnings. So I'm going to go down the line here. I want to get down into this storm and get down street level and give you guys an idea of where that area of rotation sits. That's near Ironwood Avenue. That is working its way east towards Cale Avenue, Kentucky Avenue as well. And again, that's just on the northwestern edge of Mount Etna. Gilead, again, you're going to be right on the edge of this as it works its way towards you. So let's continue to the south here. Again, we've got that, you can see that tornado that we've got. I know the camera's jumping a little bit, but really a good shot that Zane's got there. Nice job, Zane. Northwest of Prescott, this is our other couplet that we've been looking at. This has really, really maintained its strength. And if anything, it's only strengthened in the last little bit of time. But can I hear you, Zane? Are you up?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you, Zane. Why don't we take Zane full and let him talk about where he is and what he's seeing.
Okay. You're seeing this tornado here right now that's just off to the, okay, I got to check my location. I'm sorry. Northwest of Prescott, So we're a little ways north of Prescott. That's the tornado right in front of you here, folks. I think we're probably 3 or 4, maybe 5 miles straight north of town. So Lake Icaria would be just off to the west and southwest. That's the tornado right now. It's going to kind of pass by us and west. It can't be more than maybe a mile or two away. So this is northern Adams County, kind of north central Adams County. That's the tornado you're seeing on the ground, folks. It's a pretty violent one. It's not fully condensed to the ground at all times. You see, it's kind of grungy looking. You can sort of see through it at times, but it is definitely a circulation all the way to the ground. There's some rain wrapping around it a little bit. We still have winds blowing into the storm right now. So we're looking basically straight west off of what county road are we on here? Let me check my location quick. Okay, we're on County Road N61 or Quincy Avenue would be what it would be called. We are about 4 or 5 miles straight north of Prescott. The tornado is just passing by us to the west northwest, maybe I would say less than a mile. It's going to kind of pass by this little substation here that you can see just past our stop sign. So it's continuing to truck off to the north and east. This is going to head up towards about the little town of Williamson there on the northeastern northeastern part of Adams County. So it's headed that direction right now. Robbie Rissman's moving the camera so you can see it right behind that power line substation. Really some gusty winds coming too, if you can see a little bit of the grass blown in the ditches behind us as well. That's your tornado. It's definitely on the ground, and it's continuing off to the north and east. We're probably going to have to reposition here now, so you're probably going to lose our shot here shortly. Because we want to keep up with this tornado as it continues off to the north and east. Again, north central, northeastern Adams County, basically a few miles north of Prescott is where this tornado is right now. Starting to move through some rain, though, so we're starting to lose visibility here just a little bit. We'll send it back to you guys. We'll try to keep an eye on this thing.
Okay, stay safe out there, Robbie and Zane. Really, really tight circulation on that one. And then we've got meteorologist Trey Fulbright with eyes on. Headed. You can see again just a clear shot of a tornado down to the ground there. Do we have Trey on mic? Trey, can you tell us where you're at right now and what you're seeing?
Jason, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Jason, we are on the bend. We are on the bend of Highway 25 right now, south of Greenfield, where Highway 25 curves east toward Orient. This is a violent tornado. It is a stovepipe. It has violent motion up around the basis of it, and it is moving northeast. It's going to pass just to our west, and hopefully it stays to our west. But this is going to be moving up toward areas near Greenfield. People in Greenfield need to take this seriously. Tornado on the ground. It is moving right across our area right now, just to our west. I would estimate this is about 10 miles due to our southwest from our position. So we're 10 miles from it, looking back to the west, and you can clearly see the upward motion around this tornado, and it is just remaining in progress right now. We'll send it back to you.
Okay, thanks, Trey. Stay safe out there. So again, we've got 2 confirmed tornadoes, and we zoom out a little bit here. That main area of circulation has really taken over. We had some circulation to the north of there. It appears that has weakened, but we're going to have to keep an eye on this area east of Corning too, because it does look like that may be strengthening a little bit. And I wouldn't doubt, with it being on the southern edge of the line and being able to tap into all that energy, that we do see that strengthen as well. So let's get another track on this storm. Again, dangerous storms have fired up here. We had the line make its way into that western edge of the state at around 2 p.m. And as soon as it started rolling in, we were seeing winds of around 70 to 80 miles per hour with some of those embedded areas of rotation. So Orient, you've got around 10 minutes. Maxburg, 24 minutes. Dexter, 37 minutes. Winterset, I hate to say it, 37 minutes as well. Earlham coming in at 39 minutes. So that kind of secondary area of rotation that we've been watching just north of there, there's still some weaker rotation there at least. but not as strong as it once was, and I wouldn't doubt that we start to see this stealing the energy from that. But that's right to the southwest of Greenfield, and I want to zoom in on the one that we've got southwest of Orient right now to go street level with you guys and show you where it's headed. But really just a tight area, very strong winds with this. Again, a lot of these do have rain out in front of them, so we've got our chasers on these. Those are professional chasers. They know what they're doing. They're trained to do this. They've done this dozens of times before. Don't try and go out and do this yourself. You could be putting yourself in a pretty dangerous situation. But there's the tornado, and you can see kind of by those power lines there, kind of perimetered by those. But 120th Street's where we're seeing 110th Street, Sycamore Avenue, that area of rotation down towards Quincy Avenue as well. And I'm going to hop out statewide here because I know we've been focusing on these storms, but really we have got a line of tornado-warned storms out there right now. And it looks like you've got a new one over there, Ann?
Yeah, we've got a destructive severe thunderstorm warning now. So this is moving out of Carroll County into Jefferson here, right along Highway 30. This is a severe thunderstorm warning, but we've got winds upwards of 80 miles per hour here with this storm. So that's why it has that destructive tag. So that's one of the higher tags that the National Weather Service puts on severe thunderstorm warning. So I want to go back to velocity here. This the area where we've got at least some of the strongest winds likely radar indicated upwards of 50 miles per hour, but there are some stronger gusts. We've also got stronger gusts within this cell as well that the National Weather Service has given us the go on 80-mile-per-hour winds. So we've got strong winds pushing out of Carroll County as you head into Greene County here. And if I go back just to radar, let me zoom out just a bit because we've also got another tornado warning moving into Guthrie County. I want to mention that quickly in a moment as well. But Carroll, Jefferson, again, right along Highway 30, that's where those strongest winds are. And then we'll put another track on this tornado warning because I know we've been focusing down towards Corning. But I did want to give the folks up towards Guthrie County just kind of a heads up. We had some stronger rotation. I'll put the rotation tracker on here. This was showing red, which indicates more tightening of the couplet, if you will, if there were a tornado on the ground. That has weakened in the last couple of scans as well. And I think we'll take Zane's shot of a wind turbine, and then we'll come back to me if we can. I think he's just setting up his camera. And Jackie, if you could just repeat to me what you just said, or Zane, go ahead.
Yeah. Can you hear me, guys?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay. Sorry, I'm hearing myself too. So we just showed you that tornado down in Adams County, northeast of Corning, north of Prescott, a few minutes ago. And now we just headed back up this blacktop here, north of Prescott to the south of the little town of Williamson. And you're seeing multiple of these big wind turbine towers that have been destroyed by this tornado. We counted at least 3, I think, if Robbie's right. And your shot you're seeing right off to the distance is a big fire where this tower got knocked over. These are big, tall ones. I think they're, like 250 feet tall? Well, that tornado took them out, at least 3 of them. There's no blades. The blades are all on the ground. The towers themselves have been snapped in pieces, too. So this tornado's clearly been doing damage as it's gone off to the north and east here through Adams County. So we'll send things back to you guys. We'll try to catch back up to it because I know it's still going northeast.
Take a look at that storm again right now. Again, that has maintained its strength out there. You can see the clouds eventually on the back edge of this. There's quite a bit of clearing. Once you get past these storms, there's really nothing else behind this. So the threat is gone, but for the time being, that threat is still very real. You can see that area of rotation right there. I'm going to hop back over to debris because it's clearly been hitting things. And look at this debris ball that we have right here. Just to the north of Gilead, Nevinville, to the northwest of that. This is working its way northeastward. I'll zoom in street level with you here. You can see Indian Avenue, 310th Street, 320th Street, downwards towards 330th Street. So again, a situation we just do not like to see as meteorologists. A line of tornado-warned storms. I'm going to hop back statewide here, and you can see what we're working with. Destructive severe thunderstorm warning up near Carroll. Just south of there, tornado warning. We've got a few tornado warnings just to the north of Creston. And again, this line is making its way in towards the metro, so it's not inconceivable to think that we could maintain this strength as we work, especially into those western portions of the metro. A lot of what we've been seeing through central and southern portions of the state has been clear skies, and if not clear skies, at least partly cloudy, and that has really helped
That has got some strong winds coming in that area.
As it did move through Carroll County, we did hear reports near Glidden, I believe, and Carroll of some significant wind damage. So you get into that area, and that's where that brightest green passed over Glidden right there, some damage caused by some strong winds. So that is something that definitely we want to pay close attention to in Greene County, and eventually if that holds, it'd get up into Webster County as well.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit behind.
It was 77 miles per hour there just in Carroll County for a wind gust. So the tornado remains on the ground again. It is south of Fontanelle, and it is heading off to the northeast, generally in the direction of Greenfield or maybe just south of Greenfield. We got multiple cells and multiple warnings. So, but that is the biggest of the concerns. There's also that rotation which is passing north of Greenfield as well.
Yep, and the strongest one I think is very evident and is immediately upstream of Greenfield. I want to go ahead and emphasize, if you are in Greenfield, continue to seek shelter, get to that safe place, as we do have a confirmed tornado. And by the looks of it, based on the radar picture, we have a significant one that has continued to hold this debris ball signature for the better part of 30 miles.
With that. So not only are you dealing with a tornadic storm, you've got ice falling from the sky on top of you too. Areas to the south, again, the rotation doesn't look quite as good. It's become a little bit more muddy. But we still have very strong rotation that's working its way west of Orient, and then some minor rotation to the northeast of Prescott. But you can see just how stacked these tornado warnings are on top of each other. There's a lot of rotating parts of this line. So if you are in the path of this line and one of the threats passes you,
this is what we're dealing with. It's coming in through southern Adair County right now. It's going to be heading toward the Greenfield area within minutes right now. So it's south of Fontanelle. It's heading toward Greenfield, or at least the south side of Greenfield. I hope it misses the city of Greenfield.
Yeah, and just further confirmation, this is a bit of a dated report about 12 minutes or so ago. Excuse me, east.
I think it's important that people get to know my sister. Nicole is a nurturing, beautiful.
Again, we've talked about that. That's strong rotation. And again, this is a kind of day where we don't need much rotation to bring those tornadoes actually down to the ground. So thankfully, we just saw that weaken a little bit. Let's hop over to velocity. It doesn't appear to have weakened that much, though. That core of rotation still to the south of Fontanelle. It's working its way towards Highway 25. As we zoom in a little bit further, you can see that means Lewis Avenue, 290th Street, upwards towards 270th Street, and again, eventually crossing over Highway 25. So I want to zoom out again here. We've got multiple storms that we've seen rotate, and it looks like we've got another tornado warning that's just been issued off through southern portions of the state. So I'm going to zoom in on that one now too. That area rotation we talked about just on the southern edge of the state looks like that, well, wanted to do something. And that's what we're looking at right now. So this is east of Bedford, southwest of Mount Ayr, west of 169th, Highway 169. And 40? Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So we'll put a track on that. And again, these have been moving pretty quick. So this is one of the slower moving storms we've seen today. Blockton, you've got 2 minutes. Mount Ayr, 22 minutes. Diagonal, 23 minutes. Tingley coming in at 33. Shannon City, 34. Risp, 40 minutes. And the way these storms have worked is once you get that rotation that's fired up, it doesn't take a long time for that to really tighten up and really strengthen, especially when they're on the southern edge of this line, because they're not competing with anything. And as we hop over to our velocity, again, this is a little bit further away. In fact, I'm going to hop over to a secondary radar here, see if we get a clearer picture of it. Still seeing that area of rotation that we've got working its way through there. So, and it looks like you're tracking that destructive severe thunderstorm warning up off to the north.
And I did want to mention that the National Weather Service did expand this destructive severe thunderstorm warning. So let me zoom out. I'll put it back on radar. You see these blinking kind of tan colored boxes. That's the destructive severe thunderstorm warning that we're watching. So it encompasses Carroll, Jefferson, right along Highway 30 in Greene County, and then it does include Fort Dodge up towards Highway 169, and also includes portions of Highway 20 there as you head into Webster County and portions of Hamilton County as well. So we've got just some really strong winds. We've also have hail upwards about 1 inch in diameter, so that's about quarter-sized hail with these severe thunderstorms that are rolling through Jefferson right now, right along Highway 30. I want to zoom in though, and I was trying to get a better grip on where some of these stronger winds are, and they're probably just south of Farmhamville, just south of Highway 175 here, going towards the Gowrie area and northwest of Sheridan. So where we have these like almost looking like white colors, blue in appearance here, that's where you have some of that those stronger wind gusts. And the National Weather Service did have gusts upwards of 80 miles per hour right in line with this storm. So you kind of see where it bows out just a little bit. That's where those strongest winds are going to be focused, and that's where you have that destructive wind potential with these severe thunderstorms. So I want to throw it back to rotation just a little bit, because we have had some rotation showing up within these severe thunderstorms. So it is possible, and I believe the National Weather Service also mentioned this, there could be a little bit of rotation within these severe thunderstorms. So right near Gowrie here, definitely want to be in your safe place, at least while this storm comes through, right along Highway 175 here, and moving towards the Dayton area. So this is moving off, I believe, at about 40 to 45 miles per hour. So moving pretty quickly here. This is the north side of the line. I do want to go back down, and I think they did. Okay, so they did cancel the tornado warning that was in Audubon and Guthrie County. I just wanted to touch base on that. But it looks like that tornado warning has been expired by the National Weather Service. But we've got another area of rotation here just south of Scranton, and again, south and west of Jefferson here. Picking up on just a little bit of rotation with some of the red showing up again. So there is the potential that maybe we've got some sort of a couplet trying to develop here just to the south and west of Jefferson. So I will keep my eye on that. So far, the radar has kind of looked fairly messy up here, at least as far as tornado structure goes or severe thunderstorm structure goes. It's hard to pick out where any rotation would be in this big blob of red and purple, but when we throw on the velocity, it gives us a better idea of the winds inside the storm. So I'll keep my eye on this, Jason. I need to double check the how fast this is moving, and then I can put a track on it too.
Okay, that sounds good. You can see the storm down near Greenfield again has a new warning on it. Greenfield, this is right on top of you right now. We have got this storm that has been persistent. It's working its way upwards over Highway 25 right now. This is right downtown.
Very dangerous situation we have. This one in particular has been on the ground for quite a while. Coming into Greenfield right now, Highway 92, Highway 25, crossing right through this area. Of course, people live around Greenfield too, so it may be, hopefully stays out of the city, but it's around this area for sure, and heading up to the northeast. Again, these are moving about 55 miles per hour, and they are heading into central Iowa within the hour, so it is coming our way. We have a number of tornado warnings out right now, and there are some severe thunderstorm warnings to the north, Chris, and those winds are damaging as well, so everybody is under the gun really in our viewing area. We've got winds to the north, we've got some flooding potential, we've got tornadoes, we've got everything going on right now.
From Highway 20 on down south to the Missouri border, we basically have a line of broken supercells and a line of severe weather embedded in them. This has been a very volatile looking setup on the day leading into this, a threat for large tornadoes, and I do believe we now have one of those currently on the ground, but also very strong damaging wind and large hail. And while we haven't seen a lot of chatter on the large hail component, that is certainly something we have been watching. This tornado is rain wrapped in Greenfield. You can actually see a peaking in the reflectivity, Brad, just over Greenfield right now. So that one is hitting town at the moment and pushing its way northeast with time. So Rosserdale, Arbor Hill, you need to be seeking shelter as this continues to move to the north and east into Adair County. Let me see here. I'm going to back this up. We've been hearing Cromwell had a tornado confirmed on the ground. I'm not seeing an indication of that on the debris detection. Yeah. Not to say it doesn't happen, but certainly the circulation down there is not as screaming of one as it has been up to the north. Right now, the circulation, though, would be near Creston.
Yeah, there are just numerous tornado warnings out right now. So really, this whole area is really under a tornado warning in southern Iowa.
On here for you and give you guys an idea of where it's headed and when it'll be there. We're talking diagonal 14 minutes. Tingley, you got 23 minutes. Shannon City, 23 minutes. Afton, you got 35 minutes. Thayer coming in at 40 minutes. So I'm going to go full state here. Keep an eye on the other things that we have got going on. Ann's been keeping a track on those destructive warnings that we've got up to the north, and it looks like we've got a new tornado warning that's been issued now. for Adair, Adams, Dallas, Madison, Ringgold, and Union counties. So let's hop back down here again and take a look. Again, this whole line has been spinning and churning as it's made its way to the east. Just a mess of warnings as we've had so many different areas of rotation embedded within this line. We've talked about the one near Greenfield. Again, that's been the tightest rotation that we have seen right now. But that area, again, right on the edge of that polygon, and that's going to mean this may take a little bit more easterly of a track. And usually when you start to see that rotation tighten up, it does that. It has a way of digging its way to the east a little bit further. So Greenfield, again, this is pretty much on top of you at the moment. We do have more strong winds south of there, but not as well-defined areas of circulation. Let's hop back over to a different radar here that may give us a clearer picture. You can see that area of rotation near Greenfield is very strong. Going to debris tracker, still have a debris ball on this working its way through Greenfield. So this is still hitting things. This gives me a clear indication that we still have a tornado on the ground and it's damaging things and it's throwing things up into the air, and we can see that with radar. That is right on top of Greenfield right now. Greenfield, I hope you're in your basement. If you don't have a basement, make sure that's the most interior room of your house. This is a really dangerous situation. This making its way really right over town right now. So we're talking 220th Street east towards Pinewood Avenue. You can see that debris literally encompasses the whole town. That is a massive ball of debris that has been lofted into the air. So as we zoom out a little bit further, you can see this pushing its way up towards Arbor Hill. Nanito, this is going to be just on the western edge of you. I believe this is right along Highway 25 as well. You can see it working its way down towards Orient there. So Orient, you're in the clear from this storm, but we have got more down the line here to the southwest. Multiple tornado warnings along this line that have been pushing their way northeastward. And again, I want to zoom out a little bit and give you some perspective
from the radar. This is a community, though, that just dealt with a tornado just a few weeks ago. I guess we're coming up on a month now.
Right.
And now we could be dealing with another likely tornado. The National Weather Service telling us that there is a confirmed tornado south of Creston. They are saying that we're having some issues with the radar in that area, but a confirmed tornado south of Creston. So we want you to take shelter. Once again, if your phone is going off, we have so many warnings to keep track of this afternoon. We need you to go to those interior room, your safe spot, as Jerry Ann was mentioning. And this warning, by the way, extends all the way up into the Winterset area.
And this is for the counties of Union County, Madison County, northeastern Adams, northwestern Ringgold.
To Highway 25, Iowa Highway 25, to be seeking shelter, and on down the line, we'd get closer to Earlham. That'd get us closer to I-80 and Iowa Highway 6. And of course, the Earlham Road there extends south of town. Brad?
And we mentioned earlier that some of the turbines were hit, the wind turbines, and we have video of that one that was hit and caused some damage. You can see it there off in the distance there, and it appears to have some smoke or a fire.
Right behind that first turbine, you see a couple that are bent over on the ground.
There's like smoke coming out of that area as well.
Yeah, scary scene. This one coming out of Greenfield as we come back to Max 2. You see that area of circulation. It's still gate to gate right in there a couple miles northeast of town, Brad.
Yep, so that is the area, and it's moving off to the northeast. It did turn a little bit more to the north, so we'll see if it continues that. It may turn further to the north, but it is generally heading south of the Stewart area and in through Adair County. So we have several areas out there. Again, numerous tornado warnings, almost too numerous to like pinpoint, but this whole area basically just seek shelter, stay in your shelter. And then we've got the one on the far south that hasn't been confirmed yet, but I would expect this will probably go confirmed eventually as well.
Yeah, a little bit muddy in that circulation, probably riding the northern edge of that polygon here northwest of Mount Ayr is what I guess west of Tingley. So northwestern portion of Ringgold County at the moment. So this would be near Diagonal, where that area of rotation would be. Nothing confirmed with this one at the moment. Our confirmations currently into Union County and Adair County, and we believe Greenfield just took a tornado head on through town. We have yet to hear any reports of what may have transpired, but based on the radar signal that it was a confirmed tornado as it moved at least nearby to Greenfield, but that signal took it directly overhead.
It does look like that, and we still have a strong indication there with the debris ball past Greenfield. So we believe that it's been on the ground for quite some time now, maybe 45 minutes, Chris, on the ground?
Yeah, I would say so, because we're now moving to the territory of at least 35 miles since this one was first reported to us.
So we got Rosserdale, we got, this is the Arbor Hill area right in there. You can see that gate-to-gate area off to the northeast.
So this is north of Highway 92, east of Highway 25, moving to the north and east with time. Northeastern Adair County, Arbor Hill, you need to be seeking shelter as this one is incoming. There's kind of two areas of circulation here, Brad. I wonder if we have two on the ground at the moment.
Yeah, I wondered if it did a split there. The strongest one still appears to be going north of Arbor Hill. And it may turn all the way up into Stewart. I'm a little concerned, but it may continue to turn to the north and try to get into the Stewart area.
We kind of wrapped around.
Yeah, and that warning is for the Stewart area. I could see it doing that. I'm looking at the rotational path, and it's been kind of rotating back up, so it may end up into Stewart as well. But anywhere in this area, boy, you just have to watch. Be careful.
Now, I'll throw something out there for you. We have two tight circulations very close, so sometimes these can have an effect on each other. We call it the Fujiwara effect, and it can shoot them odd directions because of their interactions. And I think that southern one might now start to be slowing and maybe moving more easterly, Brad. A little different to see, but two clear areas of circulation here near Arbor Hill. That's associated with a confirmed tornado. Either way, treat it as a confirmed tornado here, and perhaps looking at this, there's another debris ball here just to the north, coinciding, Brad. If you take a look,
let's see here.
If you take a look at
park underneath a bridge, that actually increases the wind velocity, kind of like putting your thumb over a garden hose. It increases the velocity. It's not a safe place to be at all. Get out of your car and get to a lower location. From Maxburg, you guys are still underneath this tornado warning. Again, reminder that these are warnings that are stacked up literally on top of each other. From Creston, that's where we've had that tornado warning earlier. Some of the wind maybe not quite as dramatic there as far as the spin here, but back up toward Orient, we saw some of that right on that line. Again, it looks like a few of these are starting to fall apart just a little bit, but also we're having such a hard time going through one storm to the next. Some of these tornadoes, again, are rain-wrapped as well. Jerry Ann?
Yeah, and unfortunately, we are starting to see some evidence right now that some of these are coming together and starting to strengthen. Now, I have been hearing from a few folks, well, when is this going to hit me in the metro? It is knocking at the door of the metro right now, highly populated area. So we just want you to be prepared for the weather conditions to change fairly abruptly right now. Obviously, the confirmed tornadoes closer to Stewart, Creston, as we showed you earlier, these are advancing off to the east, northeast at a rapid speed, at the speed of a car, right around 50 miles per hour. And so that would put that in the city of Des Moines within the hour. Des Moines by 4:22. So you have less than an hour to get to a safe spot. And again, Winterset by around 3:51. It is very close to Winterset. We were getting reports of some rotation around the Winterset area as well. This whole band of strong to severe thunderstorms capable of producing a tornado in between Stewart and Creston is continuing to show rotation. And unfortunately, we have seen reports of large tornadoes and unfortunately damage and debris as well.
We're also looking at this particular tornado that we believe went right over Greenfield. It is strengthening once again, and right near the Arbor Hill area, which is on that northeastern side of that Greenfield area. So from here down in...
Has not weakened. We go to the northeast here at around 50 miles per hour. Dexter, you're coming in at 8 minutes. Diamond Head Lake, 10 minutes. Redfield, 15 minutes. Adel, 24 minutes. Dallas Center, 31 minutes. Minburn, 33 minutes. Perry at 37 minutes. We've got meteorologist Trey Fulbright up here too. Trey, you've got some rotation that you've been seeing on your video there. Where are you? What are you seeing?
Jason, we are headed east out of Maxburg back toward 169, and we had a funnel cloud back to our west, back to the west of our location. You're looking at the Storm Chaser rooftop camera. back to the west, and it's a low contrast, but there is a funnel curtains kind of wrapping around. So a circulation starting to organize very near Macksburg. People in Macksburg should take their tornado precautions immediately.
Thank you, Trey. Thank you.
Back to you.
So still tracking that rotation east of Creston as well, and you can see that's picked up speed a little bit. That's just to the northwest of Aspen. We've talked about that kind of elongated area of rotation, and that's continuing. So we haven't really seen that
on
weaken
down the
at
line.
all.
This one, should it continue on its current trajectory, we'd be bringing it into Earlham in the next 20 minutes or so, I would say, Brad. But north of Arbor Hill, we get into pretty rural area. North of Pitzer, and yeah, we get into a fairly rural area of eastern Adair and western Madison counties. So this one moving to the north and east at about 55 miles per hour. That large debris ball is still ever present, and a strong circulation in there as well. Down into the southern southwestern portion of Madison County, there is an additional circulation. I can see it on reflectivity. That's a screaming signal 2.
Yeah, I was looking at that one. That's the strongest. It's actually stronger rotation than the other one, at least on the radar, but we still have the debris ball there. No debris yet being reported down here to the south, but that is south of Macksburg, and that is an area that is likely.
Anything is meaningless. That tornado is still on the ground, and you can take these warnings very seriously for sure.
And we have not heard, we know that that tornado was right over Greenfield. We saw the debris signature hitting Greenfield, and then this is the next one that's actually kind of powering up. I know that you're paying attention to the road and what's going on inside of your live car, but we're back here on our radar just southwest of Macksburg. This thing has a definite spin, a very tight spin here with that green to red, and that's where we're finding that tornado that is going to be moving straight back up to the north and to the east of Macksburg. And this is where we're finding within this pink area, confirmed tornado, several of them down in this space, southwestern Iowa, right up to getting close to the metro as we speak. I would say, as we mentioned earlier, right around 4:15, somewhere in there, it's at 4:20. So within this next half hour or less, this will be on the western edge of the downtown area of Des Moines, into our Winterset area, our friends from Earlham, and then back up toward Waukee and Adel. You can see just you're on that edge of these tornado warnings that include Stewart, Winterset, Madison County, Dallas County, and then back into Guthrie County. So these are all moving to the north and to the east at about 65 miles per hour now. So it'll be in Macksburg at 3:55. So within the next 2 minutes, and Winterset at 4:06, West Des Moines by 4:28, 4:32 in Des Moines, and then by 4:52 it'll be in Macksburg. So, or Maxwell. That's where we're finding that line. This is the extension of it. This is the tornado, the very edge of it. So it is moving to the northeast, and this is where we want people to take it seriously, even though we're just in a tornado watch right now for the downtown area and the western suburbs. This is going to turn into a severe thunderstorm warning or tornado warning. So be prepared. Kids are getting out of school. They got out early today. Make sure that you're checking on them. Make sure that they're staying in the basement in the lowest space available. If you guys are listening to me, you're at home by yourself, getting out of school early sounds like a great deal, but when there's tornadoes, we want to make sure that you just turn up the TV, you stay safe, you'll listen to us, and we'll keep you updated on these storms as they move through. So just on that southwestern edge of Winterset, this thing is moving to the north at 55 to 60 miles per hour, moving across Highway 169. Stewart, you need to be prepared as well. These are tornado warnings that are from confirmed tornadoes on the ground. Our own Jason Parkin watching this today with Lee Rouse in their car down in that area, moving up toward Greenfield. They're going to check on damage for us. I'm watching his live view back here in the Weather Center off of our green screen. I can see their car. We have another one that's out racing toward that area as well, and we will give you the best details that we can. You can see they're behind the tornado now. They're moving up to the pavement area. They were on gravel road earlier, but now they're moving a little bit closer into the Greenfield area right on Highway 25. This particular signature that we're showing, again, we have Gabe Pro working our radar back here, Jerry Ann staying out at our weather pod where we can keep a track of all of the information coming your way, working together as our storm team. And there's that debris that is being picked up from that area just south of I-80, south of Stewart, moving to the northeast coming off of that line that hit just to the northeast of Greenfield. Jerry Ann.
Take you to Max 2 because we do have a new tornado warning in effect. And this is now in effect until 4:45. This includes southeastern Madison, eastern Union, north central Ringgold County, northwestern Clark County, southwestern Warren County. And these issues all remain under a tornado warning until 4:45. At 3:54, and it's now 3:55, the severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near the Creston area, moving northeast at around 75 miles per hour. So I'm going to put a track on this. Again, tornado, $50 size hail is the greatest threat with this strong to severe thunderstorm. And at this point, it's moving rapidly off to the east. And again, as I said, northeast at 75 miles per hour. And that would put these communities in the target. Murray by around 4:01, Truro by 4:11, and we also have a new continuing that tornado warning for parts of Madison County, and I'll let you go through that one, Ed. Martinsdale by 4:21, Indianola by 4:25 at this point. And again, these are getting closer to the western suburbs, very highly populated areas. And this tornado warning is indicated by radar, but we've been just seeing a ton of rotation potential all throughout the radar at this point, and we've had confirmed
to the north and to the east here. Rotation again has kind of come and gone. It's lost a little bit of its intensity where we had some reds showing up here that was indicating a little bit of a stronger rotation within the storm. Now it's weakened just a little bit, but it's still there, and velocity continues to show that where we have those strong winds coming together and potentially forming a tornado. So I'm going to throw a storm track on this. I'll zoom out quickly because Winterset, all of Madison County are now in that tornado warning here. And this is moving out of the Macksburg area now off to the north and east at about 45 miles per hour or so. So here's a list of some arrival times for you on the screen. We've got Winterset in the next 15 minutes. Now's the time to figure out where you're going to head as this storm approaches you. Bevington in about the next half hour. Martinsdale also, you are included in this tornado warning. That's in about the next half an hour. We've got coming in the next 35 minutes. Van Meter also in the next half hour, and Waukee and Norwalk getting closer to the metro area. This storm will be in your neighborhood in about the next 45 minutes or so. So it's moving fairly quickly, as all of these storms are. This entire line has been pretty much racing out of western Iowa into central Iowa for the last 2 hours or so. We've got several areas of rotation that we're keeping a track on. And again, you've got all of these tornado warnings right along Highway 169. Again, it's getting closer to Highway 35 south here in southern portions of the state, but we've got several areas of rotation that we're keeping our eye on. I'll zoom out quickly here just to give you an idea of where the most intense part of the storms are and where the most intense part of the line is, and that's basically just south of I-80 right along southern Iowa. We still have some severe thunderstorm warnings up towards Carroll and Fort Dodge, but overall we've got the numerous tornado warnings here on the southern edge of this line as it continues to move into the metro area. So let me I'll put the velocity tool back on here, and we'll give you a look at where some of these areas of rotation are. Again, we've got Madison County in that tornado warning where we had the one circulation just north of Macksburg. Be in your safe spot now. Again, Winterset, Indianola, you are also now right on the edge of that tornado warning. If you see or hear yourself or your town name without either Jason or I call out, head to your safe spot just to be safe, and then you can exit once this storm passes. But these are some intense storms that we've been watching, a couple with debris balls as we've been talking about up near Greenfield. That was one of them, but several areas here where we've got little blips as rotation and circulation here within the line of storms. So let's go back down to some of the velocity here. Again, out towards places like Afton, as you head down towards Shannon City, Lorimore as well, you are also included in that tornado warning. And these storms, again, racing off to the northeast at about 45 miles per hour. So let me put another track on these for that new tornado warning just down to the south here. That does include Osceola. So we'll put another track on this from, say, Mount Ayr up through Osceola. That's in your neighborhood in about 40 minutes, Osceola, Van Wert in about the next 30 minutes, Grand River in the next 15 minutes. So you need to head to your safe spot if you're not already there, lowest level of your house, as this tornado warning warned storm passes through, and then again, once it exits, you'll be able to come back out. But just take those precautions now as this storm rolls through. And again, I see one particular area that's a little bit more intense here as far as the rotation goes. This is just to the southwest of Afton and just to the southeast here of Creston. So right just southwest of Afton, we've got more of a little uptick here in the rotation where you see the reds showing up. I'll switch over to velocity and see if we've got any kind of good indication. So again, right just southwest of Afton here, this is where we potentially would see a little bit of that rotation. I'll throw on also the debris tracker, not picking up anything there, so that's good news. But some pretty strong winds where you see all these bright blues showing up. That's indicative of potentially 80 miles per hour winds. We've got 79 mile per hour gusts there, 77 mile per hour gusts here. So those brighter blues, that's where those areas where those winds are really just kind of blowing out of the storm, and those strong wind gusts were one of the main concerns, the damaging wind concern that we had in addition to the hail and tornado threat. So I'll send it back over to Jason as well. Jason.
Yeah, and the Stewart Fire Department has said that they have seen a tornado off 150th Avenue and Stewart Street. So the area that we have continued to watch, again, we're continuing to see these areas spin up, tornadoes form, and continue to work their way to the northeast. So Stewart, again, that's where you are right now. I'm going to hop back over to a different product here, and we can keep an eye on some of these other areas of rotation. Just to the east of Dexter, it appears that we have got one as well. So these have weakened somewhat. I mean, we look at the radar now compared to where it was, and they appear a little bit better. But again, the winds associated with these have been incredibly strong anyway. We're largely talking about winds in excess of 70 miles per hour. So whether it's a tornado or not, these lines of storms are going to potentially be doing some damage as they've got the oomph to do that. And we zoom out a little bit further, and you can see, look at this line of storms that we have got with tornado warnings on them. So as we go to our shear tracker here, you can see this one to the north of Lamoni has been pushing to the northeast, and not as clear of an area of rotation as we've seen in the past with the storms to the north. But again, we're pretty far out with our radar. And as radar gets a little further out, that beam shoots a little bit higher, and it has a harder time sampling the lower levels to the surface. And that's where we rely on spotters a lot to get eyes on these types of things. So right now, we'll hop back over to impacts as well, and you can see the hail that we've got associated with these. Could be talking about 1 inch hail or so. And we did just get another report in of a tornado near Earlham. Again, that same area that we have been continuing to watch has continued to produce. So
I think it's probably rain wrapped, hard to see, but he saw that. So west of Earlham.
I would say I didn't get a directional in the report I saw, but just looking objectively at the radar, that's where it'd be passing north of I-80 right now. Yeah. And I believe that is still in the tornado warned area. So kind of a little egg on my face there saying I think things look good. This is why we heed those warnings, folks. I'm analyzing the radar here in real time, but we have our eyeballs in the field that are still saying otherwise. So it's good that these tornado warnings are still in place.
Yeah. And the truth is that, you know, we had a large tornado. Now we have probably a very small tornado, but still a tornado nonetheless. So that warning continues there around Redfield and Earlham. You stay in your shelters until the storm passes. You only got 15, 20 more minutes and you'll be in the clear. Once this line passes, we're not going to see redevelopment. So once it goes through, we're going to be in the clear, so things will improve here. It is coming into the metro right now. We don't have any warnings for Polk County yet, but we are likely to have warnings in Polk County.
I am seeing... Oh, it's a little bit of a dated report. Sorry, Brad. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm looking at the rotational products here, seeing the strongest rotation again in Union County, eastern Union County around Thayer, those areas. Heading on down into Ringgold County, there is rotation, so that's where we have new tornado warnings. We still have tornado warnings remaining in around Winterset, although that circulation has weakened quite a bit.
It's a muddled mess of circulations down into Union County, so there may be multiple areas where we're tracking tornadoes. Briefly, you saw me scan up to the north. There is a new tornado warning up there into Hamilton County, northern Boone, extreme southeastern Webster County right now. I haven't been able to analyze this one too closely. East of Pilot Mound is where we'd be looking at, I believe. I don't see anything too significant. This is a radar indicated tornado, though, at the moment.
It's not a strong rotation, but there is some rotation there, maybe north of Fraser, Between Stratford and Fraser, I do see some rotation there.
Yeah.
With the latest scan anyway, so that's kind of deeper into the warning, but it is going to be heading into Hamilton County. So you folks in Stratford, also in Stanhope and in Jewell, all these areas, you are in that new tornado warning. Again, radar indicated a tornado forming in that area.
Yeah, so you would say about halfway between those areas, put it right here, move it to the north and east at about 55 miles per hour. Here's the estimated times of arrival. And way down the line, we have Iowa Falls by 4:50, but Stanhope by 4:15, 4:23 in Jewell, 4:44 in Alden. Anyone within that tornado warning box needs to be seeking shelter. It's kind of hard to see with all the returns on radar, but from Webster City down to about Boone to Jewell and Boxholm, anywhere in between, including Stanhope, needs to be seeking shelter.
Yeah.
Still,
and the Stratford Fire Department did see some rotation there.
Okay, so that's why the warning came out on that. Hopefully everything stays up in the clouds. They are sounding the sirens for that as well, but it's rain wrapped and it's going to be difficult to see out of this. There is some hail in here too. Just hearing a report out of Winterset that there's quarter-sized hail coming in, but I think our biggest concern at the moment is going to continue to be tornadoes.
Absolutely. And we have the rotation and the tornado warnings continuing here. The ones originally, those are that long track tornado originally has kind of weakened quite a bit, which is good news. The southern ones are still maintaining some rotation with those. And the northern one that we have, the new warning there, south of Stratford, there is definitely some rotation. We've had some reports of rotation in that area. Sirens are going off. So if you hear the sirens, it can be two different things. Sirens are no longer just tornado sirens. Sirens are severe weather sirens. So if winds...
we got this, Camrar, you got 2 minutes. Blairsburg, 11 minutes. Williams, 16 minutes. Dow's coming in at 27 minutes. Iowa Falls, 33 minutes. Coulter, 36 minutes. Latimer, you got 38 minutes. So again, a lot of different areas of circulation on that line. And even if it's not circulating, we have got the wind on this. I don't mean to sound like Arby's, but you can see the strong winds that are pushing their way through right now, working their way up towards Iowa Falls. So multiple areas of rotation there, but the wind threat is real as well. So let's go back out statewide. Again, we have just got an incredible situation unfolding to the south here, making its way in towards the metro. I don't see how we make it out of this one through central portions of the state and into the metro without seeing at least some tornadic activity with this blob of rotating storms that we have working their way in. So you can see every piece of that line right now appears to be rotating. As we go to our shear tracker here, all those little bits have been rotating. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit further here, and I want to hop between a couple different tools that we have. I may actually switch to a different radar and see if it gives us a little bit clearer of an indication of some of these. Let's go back over here, KCCI, and let's see what it's showing us too. If I can actually get it to pop up, that would be a wonderful thing. So it is showing quite a bit of rotation working its way through right now. A little bit messier, but still things that we're going to have to keep an eye on in the next 20 minutes or so here. Strong winds. You can see that couplet near Murray right now. That's pushing to the northeast as we hop over to our shear tool. You can see again that coincides with one of those spots where we're seeing that little bit of rotation. So again, a little bit messier. Some of these areas of rotation aren't quite as strong as we saw previously, but with so many of these storms rotating, it's important to keep an eye on all of them as we have got a situation where, again, it's not going to take much effort to get these to the ground. So East Peru, you got 7 minutes. Truro, you're talking 8 minutes. St. Charles, 15 minutes. Bevington, 20 minutes. Martinsdale, you're coming in at 23 minutes. Cumming, 30 minutes. Indianola coming in at 31 minutes. And you can see what we've been working with today. Again, you can see a little, well, I can't put my hand over that screen, but you can see that little tube coming down to the ground. Again, we've had some fairly large stovepipe tornadoes. Some people call elephant trunk tornadoes. But still dealing with that situation. And we work south of Creston, and we're still seeing some rotation. You can see that just to the northeast.
Actually spotted or has been detected by folks out there spotting those storms today. We have some great people that do that for a living, but also just as public servants. And then that bright red area, that is a tornado warning for the Martinsdale area back down to New Virginia, Truro. That is radar indicated, but you need to take it just as seriously. Jerry Ann, again, and all of us, Gabe Pro, myself, keeping you updated as these newest pieces of information come into us. Again, some locations of large areas in Winterset, that location with some very large hail, some damaging wind, and they're not, again, I don't think in the strongest storm of this, but here we are back from Loramore down to Murray across just north of Highway 34. Gabe, you had that scope up there for a minute. It did look like some rotation moving off of that as well.
Yeah, kind of a messy picture here. It looks like there's some rotation just to the north of Murray, east of the Loramore area. We had a report from emergency management saying they were seeing some rotation near Piru Road associated with this cell, but no debris signature, it looks like, with this either, but just so much rotation with all of these storms. And it does look like the National Weather Service has now issued a brand new, very large severe thunderstorm warning. This stretches from Osceola to Ames, so that gives you an idea of how big this warning is. It does include the Des Moines Metro. Lots of counties here for Boone, Clark, Dallas, Decatur.
Everything in yellow, right.
Lucas, Madison, Polk, Story, Union, Warren, until 5:15 this evening.
The length of this is an estimate of about maybe 65 miles north and south, but that it's moving to the east at around 60 miles per hour. In that particular thunderstorm warning for Boone, Clark, Dallas, Decatur, Lucas, Madison, Polk, Story, Union, and Warren counties, that same line until 5:15. So the leading edge of it right here, that jagged edge, is going to be moving right into the Des Moines downtown area, right into the western metro. Again, kids have been out of school early today. The school's trying to release kids before they have to transport them before these tornadoes and severe thunderstorms moved in. A very wise idea. But for you kids at home, if you're listening, turn up the TV as loud as you can, put it down, or if you have a TV in the basement, turn it up and stay in the basement, away from all the walls and outdoor, or as many walls between you and the outside as possible, as that complete line now is moving very fast to the east at around 60. By 5 o'clock, it's going to be in Marshalltown. So you can see Newton right before 5 o'clock, backing up from Nevada at 4:39, by 4:30 in Ames, and 4:22 here within about the next 9 or 10 minutes, right into the downtown area of Des Moines. That is a broad area, and the tornadoes are in behind it. Jerry Ann.
Unfortunately, we are getting reports out of Dallas County that a firefighter in Minburn reported debris falling from the sky, including metal and also wood, approximately 1 foot in size or smaller. A trained weather spotter and amateur radio operator also reported that there was indication of rotation around the Perry area. So let's go back to radar here and go through that severe thunderstorm warning. And I want your attention to go to those boxes obviously pointed out in pink, and that's where we've had reports of that confirmed tornado warning. I know there's lots of colors on here, but it's real important that you take these warnings serious, and the best place you can be right now obviously is the basement. So let's talk about that first storm that is near Stewart, and again, that's a tornado warning for parts of Adair, Dallas, Guthrie, and Madison County. That's only in effect for the next minute.
In the middle of Adair County, and it looks like that's some pretty extreme damage inflicted. Go ahead and leave this up on screen so we can get a good look on it, what's going on.
Because you can see by the trees how the big trees were ripped, and you can see the house damage. It's probably a very significant tornado.
It is a significant, and you see those trees on the left-hand side. There's no more branches on them, so to rip off, those thick branches and it's tough to tell if it's debarked, but they're awfully smooth. This is catastrophic damage into Greenfield, and no doubt we have a crew on the way, and we'll bring you updates as we get on.
And I know the emergency people are heading into that area from all communities. Everybody, basically comes together and helps each other out. So a lot of people are going to be going to Greenfield to help those folks out, because that is a devastating situation. But we continue to watch for bad weather here, and it's certainly not as bad as that, but we still have some rotation out there. No confirmed tornadoes at this time. We're still watching for that, looking for debris signatures out there, and I'm not seeing any at the moment, Chris.
No, and any circulation we're looking at right now is rather pinpointed. I'm just trying to find some more info on Greenfield and just seeing some more pictures and videos. The damage there is extensive and significant into central Adair County. The threats of tornadoes extending, though, especially into southern Iowa. There are a slew of counties currently intertwined in there. Northern Decatur, and that would also be Ringgold County, Union into Clark, and then Madison into Warren counties. There's some very small-scale circulations in there that we're going to be tracking. None of which right now are really screaming at me ultra hard that are saying I have a tornado hiding in this line at this point, but there are a couple of areas we would watch. I think this section of the storm is definitely turbulent and holds some very strong winds in there. Kind of seeing that rear inflow notch coming in out of Madison County too, pushing east, so that would be a signal of stronger wind too.
And there is some rotation south of St. Charles, so yeah, it's still a dangerous area here, but nothing says tornado on the ground. We don't see debris. You can see those winds punching in here south of St. Charles into New Virginia. So wind is also a threat. Even if you're in a tornado warning, you could still have some strong winds and damaging winds at that. And we still have pretty powerful thunderstorms here coming into the metro. Again, all of Des Moines, all the metro is under a severe thunderstorm warning, with the caveat that a tornado is possible. So we're going to keep a close eye on that. We can zoom in, western side of the metro now getting some heavy rain coming through Waukee right now. That's coming into Dallas Center. Not seeing any strong rotational elements.
Strong, but there is just a little bit there. Yeah. So those are the kind of things we're watching at this point, since we don't have...
It's just a matter of a minute or so. So just stay calm, know what you have to do, take your precautions as we've been telling you. And that's part of the reason why we made this an alert day, because we knew that it was going to be kind of active for some of us, not the entire area, but for some. We have zoomed it in now so we can try to see some communities and even some cross sections and street. Yeah, redraw that. Thank you. Neville is on the controls there. And now that we have it zoomed in, we could also see, after we put the storm track on there, some of the cross streets. That way we can really zoom into the neighborhood itself. But just so you get your bearings, this is well south of the Kansas City metro, but it does clip Cass County, northern portions of Bates County, north of Butler, and it has not crossed Interstate 49 quite yet. There is Interstate 49, the couplet is back here, but it is still in a beeline for Archie and for Garden City as well.
South here, so as they move in to this relatively untouched area and see what they can produce. For now, it looks like they're just severe with hail and wind. But the storms that we have a little bit further to the north continue to produce the damaging winds and, of course, at least some potential for tornadic activity. And you can see those pushing up right to the metro right now. And look at the rain. Had reports of blinding rain with this. Again, with the flooding that we've already had, rivers already swelling a little bit, this is just going to make things worse. And especially as we get into the metro, urban areas with a lot of pavement, flash flooding becomes a real concern, as this rain has been very heavy. And we could be talking a couple inches of new rain as this moves through, even with the line moving as quickly as it is. So I still want to keep an eye on some of these areas of rotation, make sure we're focusing on those. And I realize kind of hopping around a little bit on the map. I know I've gotten some messages about that, but it's again one of those situations where we have got so much going on. We want to get to everything. So apologies for that, but you can still see some of these areas that we've got a rotation south of St. Charles, and we've got that northeast of Winterset working its way into the metro. So we're going to have to keep a very close eye on that. And as we go a little further to the north, that other area of rotation just to the north of Boone right now, still have a warning up there. You can see kind of that line that's been working its way to the north. Tightest rotation right now is that little red dot you can see just on the edge of that severe thunderstorm. So I'm going to zoom out just a little bit further, and I'm going to throw a track on this for you. Even severe thunderstorm warnings upwards into Minnesota, they've had some tornado warnings out there today, and I think they still have an active one. So let's go northeast, coming, just updated on me here. Let's give you the most recent up-to-date information. So that little tight area of rotation just to the northwest of Story City, working at around 45 miles per hour. Jewel, that puts you on around 10 minutes. Blairsburg, 21 minutes. Williams, 26 minutes. Buckeye coming in at 31. Dow's 40 minutes. Iowa Falls coming in at 42 minutes. So again, Besides the wind threat here, a hail threat appears to have died down somewhat too. You can still see some pockets of cores. We've got that one north of Perry, we've got that one west of Indianola, but hail is not the main concern here. I know it was western portions of the state, 2 to 3 inch hail. That's dramatically decreased for us. We still have some hail in these storms, and you can see south of Perry, and we've got that one southwest of Indianola. But the main threat, again, wind and even some tornadic activity, continues to be a concern for us here as these storms race their way to the east. And you can see just intense winds that are starting to push their way into the metro. This spot right here is very strong winds. Once you start to work your way into the blues, that's some strong stuff. So we've got 70-mile-per-hour winds that are racing out with this storm, and that's going to be working its way through the metro. We're talking areas like Norwalk, Waukee, Johnston's going to be impacted by those, upwards towards Dallas Center too. And I want to actually track those out for you here, give you an idea of where they're going to be headed. Going to hop between a couple things here as well. As we look at shear tracker, I want to keep an eye on this cell. It's got a little focus of rotation there to the north of Waukee. So let's put a track on that before we put a track on the winds, because I think this is a little more imminent. You can see here, and keeping an eye on that camera there too. It looks like we do have a lowering. I'm not sure where that is.
That's right near New Virginia, I believe, in 135 is what I was told. New Virginia in 135. That's Trey shot.
Okay, so once I'm done with this, I'll head down there and we'll take a look. Grimes, you've got 8 minutes. Polk City, 16 minutes. Ankeny, 20 minutes. Sheldall coming in at 23.
You can see it's going to get close right here into the Stivers Lincoln dealership where we have that live camera. The rain's starting to hit it now. Reports of hail up to about 1 inch in diameter. So if you have your car, you want to move it inside the garage. Make sure you don't just sit in the garage and watch these things move through. Your garage acts like a great big catcher's mitt for a lot of wind. It can do a lot of damage to your house as that wind expands within that area. So keep the garage door down. From Grimes, Granger, Polk City, from now until about 4:39, Huxley at 4:52, and right at 5 o'clock, right into Cambridge. So this guy is moving to the north and the east at about the same clip. This particular cell, the whole system is moving 60 miles an hour along the length of these storms. So it is a fast-moving storm. The one upside of this is these are not going to be storms that will just sit here and drop a ton of rain. We've had so much rain. We had a lot of flooding issues. This will still cause some problems, but we're not going to see the 5, 6, even 7 inches of rain that we've heard about today earlier in Iowa and in Nebraska. They've seen a ton out there. Here we are from Dallas Center down to Waukee. That's that line. It's kind of splintered out right now. It doesn't have a great signature on it. It doesn't have that classic inflow, outflow, green to red in a very tight space. It's kind of a longer, drawn out kind of snaky view here from Douglas Parkway to East Douglas
and
Parkway.
Bramer. The storm is to my southwest there, so it's a ways away, but it is moving at about 75 miles per hour. So the storms today are going to move quick. Just that forward motion alone could create wind gusts over 60 miles per hour. But that storm right
so far, there is a little bit of a shelf cloud. That's what you're looking at back to the northwest. It's a little bit low, just the lighting out here, but most of what we're seeing here, at least judging on based on what I'm seeing on radar and just the storm structure, is that we're seeing this more become a little bit more shelf cloud like, which means that the storms are going to produce stronger winds. Now, one thing I am keeping an eye on though is just to our southwest of Osceola, it looks like that cell is starting to just a little bit from the rest of the line. So if we were going to see a tornado risk continue with that, it would be with the cell to the southwest of Osceola. So that's the one we are watching right now. And we are headed east right now out of New Virginia toward the Lacona area. And the strategy that we're playing here is to be on the southern end of this line of storms, because it's going to be these southern, more discrete cells that have the best take in the inflow that is bringing in all that very warm, humid air, and then have the best chance to rotate. So again, we are headed east out of New Virginia right now. Let me pull up the road that we are on. It is headed east out of New Virginia toward the Lacona area. And G70, okay, Brandon, photojournalist Brandon Green told me we're on G76 headed east out of New Virginia toward the Lacona area, and we're just going to keep following these storms. We'll send it back to you.
Okay, thank you, Trey. Stay safe out there. Thanks for the great chasing today as well. So you can see the storms he was talking about. Again, as we talked about earlier, there's not a lot of competition out there for these as they've kind of broken away. And the air out in front of them is still relatively untapped. So a lot of energy for those to tap into as they roll in. And we're still tracking some storms even south of the Missouri state line that are eventually going to be working into that same area. So a lot to look at here as we have had, again, multiple tornadoes on the ground. We've got multiple warnings continuing with this line of storms that's pushing its way northeastward. So let's get back to the matter at hand here and make sure that we are hopefully seeing some of these areas of rotation die. And we're not seeing those bright reds on our shear tool that we were before. A lot of those have weakened, but again, we get to a mode like this and we're talking more spin-ups. So that would be briefer and potentially weaker tornadoes, still damaging. You can't take that aspect away, but at least that would mean weaker tornadoes. So the one that he was looking at, again, still some bits of rotation in there. As we hop back over to our velocity tracker here, some of the stronger rotation right now southwest of Murray, and I'll hop back over to our debris tool here, and you can see again none of those bright blue pockets that we saw before when we had those stronger cells, more robust cells working their way through. So that is good news. And
west of Jewel, where we have some rotation there, so that tornado warning continues. And we don't have any confirmed tornado warnings out right now. That one is going to expire here in a few minutes down to the west of the metro. So this is the area we're watching. Again, kind of a broad rotation in that area. It's not pinpointed in any way, but still it could tighten up and it could form something. So we'll keep an eye on that as it moves.
And unfortunately, we're kind of in the stage where we're getting about 5 minutes sampling because we have thunderstorms close to the radar site. It just takes longer to send the radar on its regular cycles to move through. But that circulation is southwest of Jewel. Jewel, you should be seeking shelter. That circulation is heading your way.
We've got images again, some new images, I believe, coming out of Greenfield. Again, we need all the help we can get, Greenfield, Iowa. So there you go, folks. Prayers and everything else we can give them. I guess everybody will be heading out there and trying to help Greenfield right now because they were hit very, very hard. You can see this this post on X right now that's just devastating.
Yeah, and reading some of these reports coming in along with this, beams impaled through roofs, trees gone, trees snapped in half. This is what I'm reading in some of these reports that are coming in, and you're looking at the extensive damage coming in. It's devastating down there. We have a track basically from west of Corning all the way up through Greenfield, and the tornado warning continues into the northern part of the metro right now. That's that same circulation, that same parent thunderstorm.
Yeah, it is, and that's expiring here at 4:30. But we have the other tornado warnings that are in effect right now are the red shade, which means nothing's been confirmed at this point. We haven't seen any strong circulation or anything on our shear detection and debris detection rather. So we have severe thunderstorms going through all of Iowa right now, from north to south, all the way from the Minnesota border to the Missouri border. And these are strong thunderstorms. We're getting some heavy rain and wind right now here in West Des Moines at the studio. I can hear it coming down. And we've got numerous tornado warnings again. This one up to the north here in Hamilton County. We got one out here in the northwestern portion of Polk County. Again, not seeing anything with that right now. There was some debris reported falling from the sky. We might possibly think that is actually coming down from the previous tornado. And then a new tornado warning has just been issued here, and that's going to extend up into the east side of Des Moines, it looks like, Chris.
Yeah, and so this entire line is currently warned, whether it's tornado or severe thunderstorm warning. These are embedded supercells, kind of congealed into a line, and they have their own interactions together. And usually we're looking at, when we're talking supercells, they're individual, and we start looking at them as standing alone and being in a better position maybe. That's not the case right now. They're lined up north to south, basically right along the I-35 corridor at the moment, and extending its way all the way from Mason City down through Iowa Falls to the Ames and Boone area, Des Moines, southward to Osceola, and eventually into Lamoni. There's even more storms that extend further to the south through Kansas City and beyond. Our circulations were definitely more potent earlier into the afternoon. There are still some turbulent areas that we're going to be watching, and perhaps some of those circulations, I don't have any popping out on the screen right now that are screaming at me saying huge tornado risk. Until you get up into Hamilton County, there's a couple of better prime suspects.
I do see a little something between Martinsdale and Spring Hill, which is south of Des Moines, south of Norwalk.
Okay, I see it.
There's a little something there, and if I go to higher scans, it's still there. So there is some rotation there.
Sure, we'll watch that one as it moves to the north and east. Again, these things are booking, and this is going to be in the heart of the rain too. So this is a newly issued tornado warning. In fact, it just came in. Let me get back to it. And it's for that circulation.
Yes, it is. And that is going into the south side of Des Moines and also into Altoona. So east side of Des Moines, south side of Des Moines, up toward Altoona. And that might be the best rotation we have out there, the most dangerous.
Yeah. And we might get some confirmations out of this. Let me analyze this here. If you are in Martinsdale,
that might be confirmation.
I would say it is right over Martinsdale too. Perhaps taking a tornado there. If you're in Pearl, Spring Hill, Norwalk, up towards the Scotch Ridge area, headed towards Carlisle. That's a confirmed tornado near Spring Hill. This is south and east of Norwalk by about 4 miles, moving to the north and east. So south and southeast side of the metro right now, there is a confirmed tornado moving to the northeast at 55 miles per hour. I would also say Norwalk, please seek your shelter. Do so in a calm manner and keep your composure. Carlisle included on that. The Scotch Ridge is in there. The turnoff just ahead to Carlisle is there. Altoona at 4:52. Colfax, should this one hold, at 5:02. But we'll see this warning go pink here, I think, Brad.
Yeah, I do too. There we go. Good job, Chris. We were watching that. You can see it on the debris. The debris is almost the first thing we know that it does confirm the tornado. So there we go. It's basically south of Norwalk, heading up into this area. Carlisle, east side of Des Moines, south side of Des Moines, and to Altoona as well. You should have already been in your shelter, but now we have a confirmed tornado here south of Norwalk, heading off to the northeast at 55 miles per hour or so. And there it is, that little area right here off to the southeast of Norwalk.
So this one developed rapidly, pretty much right over Martinsdale. So we'll have to work to see if we had any damage coming in from there. But you can see it was a broad rotation initially, and then it tightened up just in this last scan here, significantly tightening. Anytime you see those brighter colors right next to each other, and we're looking at that right north of Spring Hill, that's very indicative that we have some strengthening with the system, and we can see that debris balls. Not those deep dark blues that we often talk about, but it does coincide with that circulation. So there is some debris being lofted because of a tornado into the northern part of Warren County at the moment.
Yeah, so if you are in the south side of Des Moines, you're in Pleasant Hill or the basically the Carlisle area, seek shelter immediately. Again, you should have already been in that area, but this is the way it's heading, right up into the southeastern portion of Polk County and eastern Polk County as well. Again, tornado confirmed there because of the debris that we're seeing. It started in Martinsdale, quickly forming, going up south of Norwalk. We've got other tornado warnings down here. Again, we haven't seen this kind of signature that we've seen with this one, so we're still looking at those. We've got a tornado warning on the north side of the metro, but again, we're not seeing that signature yet of anything developing. This one is
And this is now looking at first alert radar. That was the cell that is primarily to the north that he is trying to get repositioned on. It is broken away.
But yeah, just debris littered all over the place. So let's keep an eye on this storm though as well. Again, we've got this moving southeastern portions of the metro. I'm going to zoom back in. That rotation appears to have tightened up a little bit. This is just to the east of Pleasant Hill. I know Pleasant Hill wasn't a good week for you a couple weeks ago. But we've got more storms that are rolling their way through. This is right on the corner of Southeast 72nd Street, Southeast 6th Avenue, Southeast 32nd Street. This is moving north-northeast, eventually going to cross over Highway 163. So tight area of circulation at this point. Let's hop back over to our debris tool here and see. Thankfully, we're not seeing anything lofted. So sometimes you see that area of rotation, maybe it doesn't make it to the ground. That's what we hope for.
Could be debris there potentially.
There could be.
Lining up with some rotation though.
A little messier, but that could definitely be. Let's hop back over to shear. Yeah, and you can see, yeah, there is some rotation down there. So we're gonna have to keep an eye on that. Let's hop over to our velocity tool. Yeah, this doesn't look great. You can see that tight area of rotation right there. Let's see what's out in front of it. Likely some heavy rain. You get these notches like this, and that's the storm ingesting moist air and re-strengthening, and that's happening right over the top of Carlisle along Highway 65 and Highway 163. So this storm continues to push its way through eastern portions of the metro, and it's actually strengthened a bit as it's done that. So Altoona, get to that safe space. Colfax, this is going to be working its way to the northeast. I want to hop back over to our shear track and get a good idea on the exact track of this, but you can see all of the areas of rotation we're working with. West of Maxwell, we got to zoom in on this a little bit. This is a very tight area of circulation. This is the one that made its way over the radar. This might be some of the more extreme rotation we have seen today, south of Cambridge. Again, this is pushing to the northeast. Cambridge, safe space now. Again, very strong rotation, pushing right over Highway 210. Maxwell, you got to get there as well. Let's take a look at our debris tracker here, and there's that debris ball again. That pesky little thing, you can see it pushing its way up to the northeast. So and I think you're right about that debris ball to the south there too. But really some solid rotation southeast of Huxley. They have extended that tornado warning to account for that. And let's get a new track on that. Do you know the speed on that?
They might be going considerable on that too, Jason. 70 miles per hour, wow.
Speed of 70?
Yes.
So guys, you got to get to shelter now if you're in the path of this thing. This is going to be moving at 70 miles per hour. Imagine driving down the interstate, and that's the speed that a tornado is moving. You are not, you're not going to be able to see that at all with the speed that it's moving. I don't even know if I can get to this. There we go. So Colo, you got 13 minutes. State Center, 17 minutes. Zeering, 19 minutes. St. Anthony, 20 minutes. Clemens coming in 21 minutes. Albion coming in 26 minutes. Liscombe coming in at 28 minutes. And again, this is one of the more extreme areas of rotation that we have seen today. You can see just how strong this has been wrapping up. And I'm going to go street level again with you here. This is really an intense area of rotation. Strong winds associated with this. Look at that, right over 315th Street, 305th Street. That is very, very strong rotation. This is likely a tornado on the ground, as we saw by debris tracker out there. Again, the Weather Service has tagged this with a considerable damage tag. Again, not something they do that regularly, which means that this is a dangerous situation as this storm continues to push northeast. And again, we are likely dealing with another situation like we had talked about before. As these storms made their way into central Iowa, they're working their way into more favorable air. They're working their way into untapped air, which means ample energy for these to maintain their strength. So Cambridge, again, this is just to the east of you. I know this just passed through, but I would stay hunkered down for a little bit longer. Nevada, we'll see if this can push northwest, but right now that northeast track would take it right through Colo. So please get to that lower level of your house, most interior room, whether you're Nevada, if you're along Highway 30 from Nevada all the way east towards State Center, and if you're on Highway 65 from Colo down through Collins, that whole area is going to be on the path of this area of rotation. Really, really strong rotation has ramped its way up here. And as you look at radar again, you can see this is just textbook. We have got that little ball on the end of it just rotating its way to the northeast. This is not good. So Nevada, again, Maxwell upwards towards Colo. I'm going to zoom out a little bit further here and look at more areas to the north too. We've still got some storms upwards towards Iowa Falls. Again, a lot of those have weakened considerably. Still dealing with some strong winds and perhaps some rotation working its way towards Iowa Falls. That's become a little messier, thankfully. But the main storms that are producing all of this headache right now are to the south and through central portions of the state, eastern portions of the metro. So we hop back over to our shear tool. You can still see that tight rotation south of I-80 near Prairie City. So this is working its way through Altoona. This is going to be pushing its way up towards Mitchellville. In those areas, again, really under the gun here as we've seen this rotation strengthen over the past 20 minutes or so. We've got reports of sheet metal debris 2 to 3 feet in length on the ground on Minburn Road west of Minburn too. So again, just a testament to the destructive nature of these storms. It's just one of those days that you hope as a meteorologist doesn't happen, but a whole lot of these storms have just really strengthened, or mainly these two, with the strongest one up to the northwest there by Marshalltown. And it looks like you've got a storm track on that one.
I got a track on this here. This is the same storm, Jason, the same tornado that Jason was just tracking. This is in southern portions of Story County here. So the main area of rotation is now just to the east of Huxley, but to the west of Maxwell. So right between Huxley and Maxwell, south of Nevada. We've got the track on here. You see those towns on the side of your screen. Colo in the next 5 minutes, State Center in the next 12 minutes, St. Anthony in the next 15 minutes, same for Clemens, New Providence, and Liscombe in about the next 20-25 minutes, same for Union. So if you see or hear your town being called, if you know anyone in those areas that maybe aren't paying attention to the weather today, this would be the time to give them a call because this is a pretty serious situation, at least from radar perspective here. I just want to go back to debris because that debris ball is still there. So let me clear the screen for you here now. It has moved within the last couple of radar scans. It's now just to the south of Nevada. We will put the rotation back on here. Again, not looking at any signs of weakening here. So we've got Nevada here, Maxwell down to our south, Colo over here to the west, or the east, excuse me. And that's where we've got that serious, really significant indication of a tornado on the ground, if not with the debris ball there. So, yes.
22,000 in Des Moines without power now too.
Okay, so again, the winds that we saw that we've been tracking as well, knocking down those power lines here. So if you are in Nevada, Colo, you are downstream from this, Clemens, State Center, you're also included in this tornado warning. Head to your safe spot now. Again, this is what we mentioned before, even on reflectivity, when we put it back just to the radar picture, we've got that hook. And that's where we would see the tornado, and that's exactly where the debris ball is showing up here. I'll go to the debris ball. I'll circle it for you here too. So that's more indication that this is a strong, potentially strong tornado on the ground there. So we've got the circle there. We see the debris ball in the blue. That lines up with our shear tool as well, where we have the yellow. That's some of the most extreme rotation that we've picked up on today so far. And then again, we go over to velocity here, and that's exactly where that tornado would be sitting inside this storm. And then we throw it back to radar, and it's all four of those products are lining up exactly where that circle is here, right on the map. So
Richmond,
again,
that is near Lexington, and there's Hardin. I was just talking about that. I'm going to switch the mode on the radar here. Not the crispest view as far as looking for areas of rotation, but getting some reports here of a lowering or some rotating wall cloud rather, and we know that Nick Bender in Storm Tracker 9 is heading that way. Looks like he's just off to the northeast of that storm. And Nick, what are you seeing right now?
Neville, we're south on 65 Highway, getting ready to come into Carrollton. A lot of hills here, so it's hard to spot this storm. When we get to Carrollton, we're going to head west on Highway
30. This image might be a little bit old, but you can see it passing east of Nevada. Thankfully, it looks like that, Chris, is just going to miss the Nevada area.
Yeah. I would agree, Brad. It's passing just a couple miles east of town between Nevada and Colo. It is getting to the north side of Highway 20. Brad, I'm looking at the GR here, and we have some of those winds just howling.
Because we are getting reports now of a new tornado warning, and this one is located in southern part of the state, and this includes Corydon as well as Sheraton. This tornado warning Appanoose, Lucas, Monroe, Wayne County until 5:45.
The signature on this one's very tight as well. Just coming over the Missouri line, from Unionville, or Lineville, I should say, to Corydon. That's where it's really starting to spin up and give us some pretty dramatic signature there.
Us back up to Nevada. This is a very significant radar signature with this storm that's moving in. These bright reds and greens, even those pinkish yellow colors showing up on the radar. This is going to be moving on the southeast side of Nevada. We're talking right around the intersection of 650th Avenue and Highway 30, 6th Street. It's going to pass just to the south of you. Eventually, moving up to the cross streets here of 650th and Lincoln Highway on the east side of Nevada. A confirmed tornado is headed your way with a very intense rotation signature and a debris signature. In fact, there's the debris signature that's on Highway 30 right now, essentially right at that intersection of 650th and Lincoln Highway.
And that debris signature, we've seen so many of these today. In fact, I don't recall another day of severe thunderstorms or tornado warnings where we've seen those kind of signatures one after another. But that is right across Highway 30 to the west of Colo, just to the southeast of Nevada. And again, we expected something was hit here. There's a lot of buildings here, a lot of industry right along Highway 30. That's where we may have some of those damaged areas that have had that debris pulled up into the tornado. Again, we've talked about this all afternoon. When you have a tornado signature with debris like this, it does show that it's hit something. Our radar is excellent at picking up solid objects, and that's what we're finding right here with those very, very bright colors. That's where we have the not only debris right across Highway 30, but it looks like kind of a wash of debris behind it as it's moving to the northeast, that particular tornado, and very
as
close.
We put this in motion here, again, some of these southern portions of the state that haven't yet had, or at least not as many tornado warnings, I should say, as areas to the north. I'm going to be under the gun for it. Allerton, 12 minutes now. Corydon, 17 minutes. Promise City coming in at 23 minutes. Ovia coming in at 24, Russell 36, Melrose coming in at 41. So again, the line continues to produce. We get areas to the south, and again, that air out in front of it is just moist, and we have got a lot of energy for that to feed into. We do have some showers out in front of it. Hopefully, as these continue to move to the east, they encounter that slightly rain-cooled air and weaken some. But as it sits right now, we have got even more along the southern edge of the state line there that could be working their way in from Missouri. So areas like Centerville and upwards towards Ottumwa, we'll have to keep an eye on those storms. And you can see the damage that we've got there. That damage in Greenfield, Greenfield, just terrible damage. We saw that storm roll its way on over in Greenfield, and that is a picture and a testament to the strength of the storms that we've had out there so far today. But this line is continuing to work its way east of 35. Look at this, all the way up and down 35. Not a good time to drive down the interstate. We have got severe thunderstorm warnings and tornado warnings literally along the entire stretch, except for maybe down near Osceola. Otherwise, the rest of this line is producing severe conditions and potentially tornadic conditions as we've continued to see these storms remain strong as they start to tap into some of that moist air that hasn't been tapped into yet. When you look upwards towards Iowa Falls, we've got a tornado warning up there as well. You can see that area of rotation. Let's hop back over to our debris tool here. And again, not seeing that clear indication like we were seeing with the storm through the metro and through Nevada, but still a good indication on
this
a
line
shear tracker.
We have the confirmed tornado on the ground. It is east of Nevada in Story County, between Nevada and Colo, and it is moving off generally toward Fernald, and that is moving also towards Zeering. So looks like Zeering's in the path of this tornado right now.
Yeah, and power outage in Maxwell, maybe in tandem with this tornado that we have. It is currently on the ground still, and it's about ready to pass over into the northeastern part of Story County. This is the strongest signal that we have at the moment. As we bring up the CC, you see exactly where it is with that pronounced ball that is just northeast of Colo at this point, Brad.
And so it looks like it's going to be crossing Highway 65, might come very close to Ziering depending on the exact path, but it should stay north of Colo. Again, that's the debris from the tornado. It's not the tornado itself, but it's probably very indicative of where it is. It's right below that area. And of course, it's like taking a snapshot of a moving target. This is moving at northeast at 55 miles per hour. So we're keeping up with it, but it is tracking through this area here. And again, shear detection lags behind, but that is where it's been traveling. And it's probably going to go just on the south side of Ziering here, crossing Highway 65 very shortly.
Yeah, I'd be a little concerned for Ziering at the moment. Please continue to heed this warning as it continues to approach Highway 65, perhaps just south of town. But if you are in Ziering, please seek shelter. Northeastern Story County at the moment, we get into extreme northwest Marshall County and then up into Hardin County if this one does persist. This one now has been on the ground more or less basically since the Doppler ball. So if I kind of extrapolate back how far that is, we've been on the ground now, maybe intermittently, but for the last 27 miles, that'd put it close to a half hour now.
And there's another community, St. Anthony. It's a small community there. You're in the path of this tornado as well. So that is in St. Anthony, heading up to the northeast. That'll be right there. You can see it in the northwestern portion of Marshall County.
I can't emphasize this enough, Ziering. There is a tornado on the ground, and it is coming your way, perhaps just slightly on the south side of town, but it would be close enough where I'd be seeking shelter.
Look at the Story County continues to look impressive and is recycling now as it does so. So we just mentioned that it kind of looked like it might have been weakening just barely, and now it's starting to regain its strength here. And the tornadoes, storms do that periodically here as this line of storms continues to move off to the east. And we've seen that with a couple of those storms here this afternoon. It kind of weakens and then it starts to regain its strength again. So that's exactly what this storm is doing. And we still have that tight circulation there with the brighter greens and reds, but then really the telltale sign here is still showing a pretty good debris ball here just to the north and east of Nevada. So if you're in Story County, eastern portions of Story County, you need to be in your safe spot. Marshall County as well, that's going to be headed towards your direction here as this storm really runs off at about 70 miles per hour, so off to the north and to the east. Rotation, or the tool that we have here, the shear tracker, kind of showing maybe some weakening, but it's going to be right over Highway 65, just south of Ziering, headed towards Clemens State College, and then down the line, other cities there into Marshall County. So this will be moving in northwestern portions of Marshall County here over the next half hour or so. I don't know if we've gotten any more updates here from the National Weather Service, but we're going to still continue to be watching on this storm. Again, it's moving pretty quickly here at about 70 miles per hour. Radar kind of looking a little messy right now as it kind of re-strengthens or kind of regathers itself, but Ziering, you're still in that tornado warning all the way out to Albion as well, all included in this tornado warning. So I'll keep a quick look on that, but of course, Jason said we still have tornado warnings ongoing right now into northern Iowa and also central Iowa here in the metro area.
Yeah, we just had a new warning issued too out there by Newton, and you can see the rotation. We've been tracking this all the way through and all the way to the northeast, areas like Newton upwards towards Baxter. This is crossing over I-80 right now, so pretty strong storm. We hop over to radar, the leading edge of this. Really heavy rain associated with this as well. One of those situations where you're going to go from nothing to everything in literally a matter of minutes. So as we break down exactly where this is going to be heading, again, that rotation right along I-80 west of Newton. This is moving to the northeast. We'll go around 50 miles per hour. That puts it in Laurel coming in at 19 minutes, Newburgh 24 minutes, Gilman 25 minutes, Ferguson 25 minutes, Marshalltown 31, and LeGrand 33 minutes. Again, really tight area of rotation that has formed with this storm, and it's racing to the northeast. So I'm going to zoom in and we'll go street level, give you an idea of where that rotation is and associated with your streets. Again, right along I-80, but this is also going to be working its way towards West 52nd Street South. Newton, this is going to be really close. This is likely going to push its way northeast through that northwestern edge of town. So please get to safety. We've tracked this since it was basically in southwestern Iowa, and this storm and this line of storms is continuing its way your direction. Lambs Grove, you're in the path of this. This is along Highway 14 south as well. So Sunrise Mobile Home Community, I hope that you have got a shelter that you can get to or a sturdy structure, because we've got a tornado-warned storm, a storm that's capable of producing a tornado making its way your direction.
Side of your screen, that same style debris signature that we're watching now over the north of Colo and moving up toward Ziering. So you need to seek shelter right now, folks. This is the Highway 65 area back up into Ziering and St. Anthony. That's where we have that debris ball maybe kind of losing some of its signature, probably losing the capability of that tornado to keep it aloft. So it's going to fall back down to the ground. But same thing, pray that it's not falling over anyone else's or coming across anyone else's downtown area as it did Greenfield. On the very edge of town, just a lot of damage down there, and we are going to be doing a lot of stories on that. We do have our storm teams out. We also have our reporters out. They are going, again, following up behind these tornado warnings. We'll be doing a lot of reporting on that. But for now, we want to make sure that everybody is safe and staying ahead of this as best as you can from Baxter to Newton. This is that tornado warning for Jasper and Marshall County until 5:30. All along the same line, moving to the northeast. It's radar indicated. And then we have that severe thunderstorm line on either side of that tornado warning. That severe thunderstorm warning is along a tornado watch that is included for much of the state until from Des Moines to the east until 9 o'clock tonight. So we still have
that
these
up, put it down here in the street, and it eventually ends up being debris right here at the curb. Lots of dangerous work involved in removing the trees. You can see the workers on the collapsed roof getting rid of limbs that have been taken off. The crane does the heavy lifting, removing the trees piece by piece. All of this while trying to protect the integrity of the home. The crews say it's important to have your trees looked at regularly to try to avoid this type of damage.
Let's go back down to our shear tool here, and we'll get down street level, let you know where that rotation is and where it's going to be headed. But again, not a good situation as this works its way through Allerton right now. Kind of an elongated area of rotation with potentially we'll go back to radar here. That rotation just right down here is where we're looking. So let's go back to that shear tracker and we'll zoom back in here. And we're at 125th Street, Highway S26, 105th Street down there is where we're seeing that rotation eastward towards 140th Street. And I want to keep an eye on that storm, again, Ann, that you have been watching because, again, it is moving through a really populated area. Do you want to take a look at that again?
Yeah, and, you know, it looks like it maybe is weakening still just a touch, at least from the shear rotation tool that we have here. This was showing the reds and the yellows 10-15 minutes ago, and now just showing some green. But this would be right over Ziering in Story County and then moving into northern portions of Marshall County. But Ziering, Clemens, Union, you're still all included in that tornado warning. So there's the potential for very strong winds. If maybe it has weakened just a touch, perhaps, we still have very strong winds inside this storm, and that's going to continue to pose a problem if there isn't already a tornado on the ground. So we'll put up just a new fresh track, but we also have the rotation from the National Weather Service. So they are also indicating that it has weakened quite a bit. So there's not as much low-level rotation there with this cell. So that's exactly what our products are showing here. But again, you're still in that tornado warning, Ziering, Clemens, Union, all included in that warning. So just stay in your safe spot until this storm passes. But it looks like the bigger threat that we saw with the debris ball and the very tight winds and strong winds within the circulation of that cell have kind of weakened just a bit. So that is good news there. We'll keep an eye on it. That tornado warning does go until 5:30 for Story County and Marshall County as well, northern portions of Marshall County. So still another 20 minutes on the warning. We'll keep an eye on that and see if it does. Maybe it's just cycling through. But for right now, that has weakened considerably. But we still have the other tornado warnings. We have one into southern Iowa, but also the one here into Jasper County, where Jason's been tracking that rotation, where it's kind of upticked as well. This is right over the Baxter area. Newton, you're also included in that warning. We'll put a new new storm track on this just to give another idea of where this is headed. Again, this is in northern portions of Jasper County. Places like Laurel, this will be in your neighborhood in the next 10 minutes, Ferguson in about the next 20 minutes, same for Gilman, LeGrand in the next half hour, Tama as well in the next half hour, 35 minutes or so. So these storms still moving very quickly, and there's that potential for the strong winds as these storms approach these places, but then we still have the rotation, or at least the indication that there is some rotation, say from about Baxter, stretching almost down to Newton here in Jasper County. So want to keep a close eye on that. We'll clear off the radar. We'll go back to reflectivity here just to show you what it's looking like. And again, the line is making its way across Iowa now, basically east of I-35, I would say here. That's where we've got still some severe thunderstorm warnings stretching from central Iowa up into northern portions of this state along this line. But we've also got 3, I believe, tornado warnings now. 2 up towards north central Iowa, and then 1 and a new one now coming out of Missouri. So I want to go back down to those storms. I don't know if Jason, you're on that one as well, if you want to.
Yeah, I can take a look at that.
One.
We do have some slight rotation just to the southwest of Williamson. Again, not nearly as strong as we've seen in the past, but we'll have to keep an eye on this storm to make sure it's not ramping up at all. You can see it's kind of weak at this point, but again, these things don't take long for them to spin up. We'll look a little bit further to the south here, and you can see this storm really has continued to strengthen as it's made its way into Corydon. Likely seeing some hail on this, as well as that area of rotation, really a dense pocket of a hail core there. I wouldn't be surprised if we were seeing hail of 1.5 inches to 2 inches out of this thing. So let's get back to the rotational component of this. You can it's a little messier there. But this is where it would be, right into there. So let's go to our shear tracker here, which typically has a pretty good handle on it. And you can see that is just to the southeast of Allerton now, again, working its way up towards Corydon. So Corydon, I know you're going through a lot right now. You've got the rain, you likely got some hail and some very strong wind. That rotation is still to the south of you. So the most dangerous part of the storm is still south of you. That is still making its way to the northeast. So settle in, get to the basement. I know you're probably hearing a whole lot banging on your roof from that, but we're not through this yet. We'll get through this together, but as it sits right now, you can see that just to the south of Corydon. So as I put this up, we'll put it right on that area of circulation, and you can see as this moves to the northeast, we're looking at Promise City in around 8 minutes, Melrose 24 minutes, Moravia coming in at 30 minutes, Albia 37 minutes, Lovelia coming in 40 minutes, Blakesburg 43 minutes, Avery coming in at 43 minutes as well. So multiple storms still to watch. I'm going to hop statewide here and make sure that there's nothing out there that we aren't seeing, because this line literally stretches from up into Minnesota all the way down into Missouri, and it is just scraping across our state right now. And you can see all the severe thunderstorm warnings that we've got embedded in that line. I'm going to zoom back in to the metro here. We'll keep an eye on some of these storms. Heavy rain continuing southeast of the metro. Metro proper is clear from the threat. I know we still have a severe thunderstorm warning active there, but metro not in any danger at this point, at least the immediate metro. As we zoom in a little bit further, I don't know why it does that sometimes. Let's go back out statewide and zoom back in, but you can see that area still dealing with a lot of rain. And you look east of Carlisle, south of Mitchellville, southwest of Prairie City, some pretty intense stuff happening there. So hopping back over to Shear Tracker, a lot of messiness there, not a lot of rotation. We go a little bit further to the north, and you can see where the tight rotation is right now, south of Melbourne, north of Newton. We had a wind gust reported out of Newton at 71 miles per hour. So again, whether it's tornadic or not, we're seeing an intense wind with a lot of these storms, and that's, again, something that we expected today. And we're seeing that come to fruition for us yet again. So Marshalltown, this is making its way up your direction. I know you dealt with something, 6 years ago now. But we've got another storm that's working its way to the northeast. We'll see if it can hold that rotation together. But right now, you can see that Laurel coming in at 7 minutes, Haverhill 8 minutes, Ferguson 11 minutes, Marshalltown 15 minutes, LeGrand 17 minutes, Montour coming in 17 minutes, Garwin at 23 minutes. So it looks like they have transitioned this, at least the eastern portion of it, to a severe thunderstorm warning, likely because of the winds that we've seen. Again, that 71 mile per hour gust was very strong, but we're going to have to keep a very close eye on this area right in here for any intensification of that rotation. Again, it is fairly strong right now, but as we head into the next few scans on radar, we'll have to take a look. Look at the winds by Melbourne right now. I'm going to zoom in there and we'll get an idea of some of these, but really, really strong winds. And most of the ones that we have seen, where we've seen peaks like this, we've actually gotten reports of that happening. So right through Melbourne, we're talking 77 mile per hour wind potential. Again, that's radar estimated, maybe around 70 miles per hour. Regardless, that's damaging wind. That's moving northeast, and we're continuing to see these storms, as I've said time and time again, go into areas where the environment is very favorable for them to continue to strengthen. So as they work their way into eastern Iowa, there's a pretty good chance that we see these at least maintain their strength. We're not fighting daylight either. Right now it's 5:16. That sun doesn't set until almost 8:30 now. So we're going to still be dealing with heat from the sun. We've still got ample moisture out there we're dealing with as these storms work their way in. So I'm going to zoom back down to the storm near Corydon. Again, that's one of the stronger storms we've got out there at the moment. You can see that continuing to push its way east of Highway 14 and Highway 2. The area where we're seeing the greatest circulation, which right now has really ramped up just east of Corydon, is along Highway 2. So this has been working its way to the northeast. I want to make sure we're not seeing any lofted debris there, and it appears that we are. So you can see that little blue ball. Ann's talked a lot about that, what it is. Again, that's 2x4s, pieces of houses, debris that's just thrown up into the air that we can see. That right now is along 210th Street towards 220th Street. So this is just on the northern edge of Promise City. Promise City, this is working its way on the northwestern edge of your town here, staying at the lowest level of your home. Stay in safety for the time being. Again, this storm momentarily will be through. These have been moving very fast. So this is pushing its way eventually upwards towards Highway 142. So I'm going to zoom out here. We're going to put a fresh track on this since we have a pretty clear indication that we have got a tornado down here. Again, that's north of Sea.
So luckily, guys, it just looks like it was some tree damage out here. We're still driving around. This is a tree damage, looks like this for blocks all the way around us right here too. Like I mentioned, there's no power, so we got emergency vehicles out here right now too. We'll keep you up to date as we go chat with people. It does there too. It does. Some strong winds too. That's what Glenn was saying there.
Well, right, and we've had our experience with derecho. Zach Fisher out there in West Des Moines. We know what that means in Iowa. Not so much a derecho situation, but strong, severe thunderstorm warnings, and again, lots of tornado warnings. We're down to about 3. I just mentioned to Gabe on any other given day. That would be the biggest thing we've talked about maybe in months. But sadly, this is one of those days that we won't forget for sure. Promise City, you need to be seeking shelter right now. This is along this tornado warning. I'm going to go through these in a minute, and then we'll get to Jason Parkin here in just a second over in Greenfield. But you can see that line, the inflow, outflow, and that is where we're finding that twist and turn right down along Highway 2, extreme southern Iowa. There's Millerton, Corydon right on the side there, and now this is moving to the northeast. If you live in Melrose, the Plano area, you need to seek shelter. This is a radar confirmed tornado, and when we get this far away from the radar itself, we do rely on that spin that we find here. And again, maybe not as many spotters in this particular area throughout the day, but there's also some decent hail core, I would say, signatures that are coming back at us with large hail possible in many areas. Then we move back up to these severe thunderstorm warnings as we stretch northern into north of that area into central Iowa. So we have the Pleasantville area, Melcher, Dallas, Des Moines right over my shoulder. You can see Des Moines is all clear. Newton, you still have that tornado warning for that area of Story County. And then moving back up into Marshall County, we're going to see that decent signature at times here within that particular space here, just to the east of Highway 14 and back up toward Laurel. If you live in Laurel, Gilman, make sure you're seeking shelter. And north of Kellogg, where we've had so much flooding today, you're still in a severe thunderstorm warning. Melbourne also, you're going to be on the edge of this, but it's more of that severe thunderstorm line that's farther to the north. Let's go back up and check out a little bit farther to the north as well, Gabe, if we can move back up and show a few more of these warnings that we have as far as severe thunderstorm warnings that continue right across Iowa Falls, Highway 65, there's that I-35, and everything moving to the east. That whole band, though, still has some very strong to severe thunderstorms that will produce gusty wind up to 60, 70 miles per hour and large hail up to an inch at least in diameter. And now, as I promised, Jason Parkin, I can see him standing off to my side where he's live down in the Greenfield area. And Jason, this has turned out to be one of those days, you know, we forecast this, but we never want to be a part of it. We don't want to see this on anybody's community, and you're dealing with it right now.
We don't, and I'm from small town Iowa, and boy, you hate to see this when you come into a town. I'm here with my my friend Mike. Mike, tell us how this experience went for you. You actually had a pretty close experience with this tornado.
Yeah, I was in Des Moines, got back home about 10 minutes, and the power went out. I heard the tornado sirens, and then I heard a big rumble, and then the house started to shake a little bit, and then we went and tried to take cover, and just as fast as that came in, it quieted down, the sun came out, and then we headed out to see what kind of damage and it was pretty bad.
So you've been actually around more of the town than I have been. What have you seen as far as how far the damage goes?
So it's probably good half a mile or 3/4 of a mile west of here. It was just south of the main Highway 92. It cut east and then up over 92, which came right across here, took out this brick garage, and then headed straight down. But you couldn't see the fairgrounds before today. So
right, and we can see the fairgrounds from this intersection of 25 and 92 now, which wasn't a feature that was available before, unfortunately. Friends okay? Neighbors okay?
Yep, everybody I've talked to, they're okay. I mean, just obviously a lot of damage, but they're health-wise, they seem to be good.
This is a dumb question, but tell us how this feels. I'm trying to. I mean, I don't live here, and it's surreal.
It's devastating. I'm new to here myself. I've been here 4 years, and it's just sad to see everybody. And I mean, it's a close-knit family, close-knit town. Sorry, and everybody's seems to be coming out and helping each other. So, which is kind of nice for a small town.
Yeah, small town Iowa is very good at that. Yep. Mike, thank you very much. Good to talk to you. I know there's other warnings ongoing, and for now, we'll send things back to the studio.
Thanks, Jason. And again, to all of those folks there, we're thinking about you. Know what Iowans do. We take care of our neighbors. A lot of folks may be rushing to that area. Let those folks deal with what's happening there, and then have them offer to bring us in to help, because often people get out and it's just too much at once, especially when you're dealing with situations like this. All of these severe thunderstorms and tornadoes now moving to the east. About 26,000 people are without power right now in the Des Moines metro. This is all past this area. I did see several reports of power lines down, even in the Windsor Heights area, in the downtown, what we would consider the downtown area of Des Moines. So this is going to be a while before this power is restored. A very muggy evening, lots of heat out there, and folks trying to stay cool as well. So we're thinking about those folks. Flash flood warnings continue out to the west of us. That's the leftover in that
strong storm, strongest storm that we have right now in southern Iowa. Again, moving out of Corydon and in closer towards the Albia area, right along Highway 34. So Sheridan, you're right on the edge of that tornado warning, but the worst of the storm is off to your south and east here. But that's going to cross over Highway 34. We've got a new scan there. We'll see if we have any better idea on rotation, and still looks the same. There it could be a little tight, some very small tight rotation. Again, we're far away from the radar, as we've been talking about here in southern Iowa, so a little bit harder to pick out. But there is still some indication that we've got some spinning within that storm. So not only do we have that, but we've also got a good potential for some strong to severe hail. And we've got, again, another update here with that hail core strengthening. That's another sign that the storm is strengthening when we get bigger reports from radar that there is bigger hail inside this storm. A good idea that this is strengthening as it moves off to the north and to the east here. So we'll keep our eye on this cell. We've got several other storms there up towards the north. Jason, I'll send it back over to you for a second for those.
Yeah, and I'm keeping an eye on Gilman right now. And we've seen that area of rotation make its way towards Gilman, and I'm just hoping that we're not seeing another area of debris that's been lofted. If that is the case, it does correspond with the tightest area of circulation at this point. That's right along Highway 146 north of Newburgh. So you can see that is exiting the warning polygon right now, but we'll check these next couple scans. Hopefully this weakens a little bit, but this has been a fairly strong storm. You can see the winds associated with this really strong as it's been racing its way towards Gilman. So I'm going to go back down street level. We'll talk about some of the roads that are right in the direct path of this main area of circulation. That's North 115th Avenue East, North 107th Avenue East as well. This is going to be working its way northeastward towards 20th Street. We have got Abbott Avenue. So Gilman, you got to get to that lowest level of your home. Make sure you are in a safe location. If you can, make it to a shelter. Again, it's one of those situations we don't like to see where this maybe, again, lofting some debris in the air, which would mean that there would be a tornado on the ground. So as we hop between our different tools here, you can see this, the strength of the winds even associated with this storm. I'll hop back over to our radar and look at the core of that making its way into Gilman. You can see the inflow into this storm, which means it is strengthening. That's ingesting moisture and energy that could help to keep this storm robust. They do have a severe thunderstorm warning out in front of this. We'll see if that rotation does kind of wrap up even tighter if they do issue a tornado warning. But as it sits right now, there is at least enough of an idea for me that this could be producing something tornadic. So those winds, though, associated with this upwards towards Marshalltown, incredibly strong winds. We're talking winds upwards. I mean, again, radar typically overdoes a little bit, but it's a testament to just how strong these are. Wouldn't doubt we see winds of 70 miles per hour with that. You'll go down southeast of Laurel, south of Laurel along around Highway 14. And we have got strong winds as well down there. Winds probably around, there you go, 70 miles per hour. So we talked about this generally transitioning to a wind threat. And what we hoped wouldn't happen is, well, we've got a tornado threat alongside a wind threat. So a really damaging line of storms is continuing to push its way eastward. I'm going to put a new storm track on this for you. I'm going to hop over to that debris tracker to keep an eye on it. But I really think we might be seeing this continue to develop, which would not be good news for folks at Gilman and eastward towards Toledo. So let's put a track on that for you. We'll go northeast. Well, thankfully, it looks like that may have disappeared. So Montour, you got 8 minutes. Tama, 14. Toledo, 15. Elberon coming in at 28. Traer, 29. Dysart coming in at 35. So good news there.
Looking here,
that is
certainly
great.
the National Weather Service is seeing what we're seeing here is part of that little segment that we were talking about during the weathercast 15 minutes ago. Go.
We have a tornado warning for, this is going to be just off to the east of Trenton. So in the Milan area, there's also a tornado warning up that way too, just so you know.
Sounds good. If you could do like a storm track on that one, that's what you have there, and maybe just look at the velocities per se. Until 6 o'clock, that is now the tornado warning for Henry County and portions of, that would be Pettis County. So it is still an active line, that is for sure. We are looking that this is the line that's going to move through within the next hour or so. So yeah, that's going to be heading up toward Trenton, so east of Trenton. So it is this little coloration that you see there. That is now the portion of the cell that is going to head farther to the east and northeast. That is a new additional tornado warning. Not sure when it expired.
Let's see, this one is, I think that'll go till 6 o'clock. Yep.
6 o'clock as well. That's out toward Mercer County. So these are the two that we have going on right now. The more, the one that was just issued not too long ago, that's the one down toward Pettis County and portions of Henry County.
It looks like they redrew that warning, Brian.
Okay.
The warning that was farther south, so that's going to be the one that is eastern Henry County, Pettis County, northern parts of Benton County. So there's your new warning polygon. This looks like it does not include Sedalia, but like you've been mentioning, Sedalia, I'd recommend getting to your safe place. That warning is going to go until 6 o'clock this evening.
Okay, so there it is. It's just the small part, and you can almost see it there. You see the green, you see the red. Let's go back to reflectivity for just 1 second, because this could be a teaching moment. You almost see that swirl right there where it goes, and it is almost like the letter C right there. That is what we're looking for. That is the rotation. That is the signature that we see. You've heard it for decades. Hook echo, there you see it. That is a part of the cell that is now east of Calhoun, but heading toward Windsor. Please be in your safe area, putting as many walls between you and the outside, protecting your head. You know the drill, making sure you have shoes on the feet just in case you get broken glass. But as mentioned, redrawn as far as which way it is going. This is now the circulation that Neville is drawing there, just showing you how tight it is, a little tighter than it was not too long ago. But in the path of this is to the north of Leesville. It is also to the north of Lincoln. But Cole Camp, Missouri, Smithton, Missouri is probably in the path. Green Ridge, Not quite. They've redrawn it because of its movement, which has changed. Also part of the reason why we're on the air with it, because it is not the same as it was even 5 minutes ago. So this is now the circulation that we see here, and that's why they've issued this tornado warning. With a fresh storm track, it's moving at about 50 miles an hour.
And again, that was just extended by the National Weather Service. So I'll keep an eye on this. I know we've got several other storms here that Jason and I are trying to track here. So I want to get back to his storms as well.
Yeah, so they just issued a new severe thunderstorm warning. This is for areas like Marshall County, Tama, Black Hawk County. That core of winds that we were just talking about, again, cause for concern. That's making its way to the northeast, 60 to 70 mile per hour winds. So I'm going to put kind of an extended line on this because it is a pretty large core of winds pushing to the northeast at around 50 miles per hour. So Tama, you just got a few minutes, as do you. Toledo, Garwin, 4 minutes. Gladbrook coming in at 4 minutes. We got Traer at 19. Elberon coming in at 20 minutes. And look at the winds that we have. Even up near Iowa Falls, we've got some very strong winds. I want to zoom in on that one too. That's just north of Highway 20. You can see the core is just intense. This working its way near Ackley, upwards towards Parkersburg. So as we look at some of the winds associated with this, again, talking close 70 to 80 mile per hour winds with this. That's destructive wind potential. And again, I know I've said this a few times, but you get further away from radar, sometimes that doesn't make it to the ground. But there's enough indication here where, again, that could be a very damaging storm cell. Let's go back out statewide here. I want to zoom back into the south. Again, we've talked about the storm south of the border, and there's one that has been rotating, and they've tornado warned it now, so we'll have to keep an eye on that as it works its way south of Ottumwa there into southeastern portions of the state. But hopping back over to radar, if you're Ames, Des Moines, westward, again, you are in the clear from this now. The worst has happened. And I know it's been terrible for a lot of folks, but now it's time to clean up areas to the east, still dealing with a considerable threat as these storms push through. So I'll zoom back down here a little bit. I want to see this storm near Knoxville. You can kind of see maybe a little appendage on the bottom of that. I want to make sure that's not getting any bad ideas for me here. And it doesn't look like it is. The rotation on that, kind of non-existent. Still looking at that storm that Ann had mentioned, Albia, upwards crossing towards Highway 34. This is east of you, Sheridan. Sheridan, you're fine from this. Ottumwa, this is likely going to pass to your northwest, but areas like Oskaloosa and eventually Sigourney, this may even make its way towards you if it can hold together. It is the strongest storm that we're seeing at the moment, and you can see the strength in that circulation right now.
If you live near 65 Highway, if you know where that is, you should be getting to your safe place, especially near or along 65 Highway south of Sedalia. If you live near Windsor, if you live near Calhoun on the Missouri side, you should be in your safe place. Even Cole Camp, so that's going to be in northern parts of Benton County, you should be getting into your safe place just as an extra precaution there as well, because there is rotation in this storm. It's not a super tight rotation, but it is there nonetheless. In fact, we're going to switch the mode on the radar here. So the areas that we're looking for, we're seeing some of this bright green. So we're seeing wind that's feeding into the storm where you see the bright green, and then where you see some of that red, which is just off to the east of Calhoun. You see wind that's going out from the storm. And when you have those two side by side, that helps to create rotation, and that's the area that we are monitoring for you. So when we put on our rotation, you do see a little bit of green popping, so it kind of clears off some of the other stuff on there, Brian. So still some rotation. It is quite a ways away from radar, so sometimes it doesn't look as clear, but nonetheless, we are seeing that on radar. The Weather Service are certainly seeing that as well, and that's why, as of right now, that tornado warning for eastern parts of Henry County into northern Benton, southern Pettis County, near Sedalia, near Cole Camp, and near Warsaw, we have that tornado warning.
Something going on up there too? Bob has had some lowerings with that, and he's had a wall cloud with it, and he's watching it. He's available to talk if you'd like to talk to him real quick.
Okay, I just want to, I want to get this one, and then let's do first, because this one is really concerning. Tell Bob we'll get with him in a minute. So again, now with the update still showing circulation and wind damage potential at this point, just south and west of Justice, west of Tiowa, and into our storm.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, Bob does?
Vaughn.
Vaughn, okay, Vaughn, if you would, give me an update. What are you seeing with that?
Yeah, there's a shot right there. That's where the little notch is,
And you can tell that is just wrapping right back in. Those rain curtains are wrapping right back into that.
Yep.
I'm on 88 headed towards Kiowa, so I'm going to be in pretty good position if that gust front rain doesn't hit me beforehand. But we're going to stay on it here, Travis.
All right. Hey, thanks, Vaughn. Appreciate it. So again, you can see what it looks like from the outside. From the inside, if you're in the middle of it, we'll get a storm track from Stacia here. But this is a circulation feature, again, right on 530 Road. And so that is the center. So you're going to have strong northwest winds on the backside of it. You should have some winds that are very strong coming in right in this zone just near Kiowa. If you're in Kiowa, we really want you under cover at this moment, because we do have the tornado warning in effect right here. And so this is a big rotating area, and so it's going to be rain curtains coming in. You won't be able to see it, but it's pretty tight, and there could be a tornado very easily on the ground. Right now, it's just radar indicated because we haven't had a confirmation station with storm track.
It's coming right into Kiowa at this time, so we want folks to be in their safe spot, lowest level interior room. Put as many walls between your family and the outside as possible. So this, again, coming into Kiowa here in the next couple of minutes. So find that safe spot now. Justice, also want to find that safe spot just in case this starts to make more of a northeasterly track for you.
Out in the field to see if they have an eyewitness report of this particular storm making at least the contact with the ground. As we notice here, it's now a little farther to the east, south of Green Ridge. Torrential rainfall for sure. The circulation's still evident, but maybe not quite as evident as it was not too long ago. But this is going to stay in effect for another 24 minutes, which is now a tornado warning out for portions of Pettis County, southern portions of Pettis County, Benton County, northern portions
dealing with
of
a
Benton
tornadic
County.
threat as we thought. This is transitioning, at least in this portion of the line, to a bit of a wind threat, but a pretty intense one at that. Some of these wind ratings are going to be
team right in that area. So if you are right there getting Sapulpa getting hit with the big hail as well. Is Alan still on that storm? Right there. Hey, Alan, quick update from you on this south storm coming in across areas just southwest of Tulsa Hill. Well, right now it's in Tulsa Hills with the latest hail update. What do you have?
Yes, sir. We've come right through. We're on 33 now, heading back to the east. We've had golf ball size hail steadily for about the last 5 minutes. The last 2 minutes or so let up. We got back to heavy rain. We had 30, 35 mile an hour winds, but like I said, we had consistent golf ball size hail there for a bit. Pretty decent little show we're in, trying to get repositioned to get back ahead of it again. Back to you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. And with that tornado warning up in Rogers County, sirens are sounding there. This hail is headed from Tulsa Hills back on down to the south to about, looks like 121st Street coming into Jinx. I don't know if you have time, watch out for lightning strikes, but you might want to make sure your vehicles are in if you're on the south side of town right now. This is a nasty storm. Let's go back up to our other storm, and then, Stacia, I'll have you do a storm track on the south one in a minute. But let's take a look at what's going on. So we have areas, you see where Val is located near Catoosa, and then the storm that's wrapped up where Vaughn is located at this moment. We'll see what's going on right there. Vaughn, give us an update on what you see, would you?
So I'm getting into the heavy winds right now, just out hit them.
Oh, yeah.
So that area that's wrapping up is right here in front of me, or to my northeast. So we're going to take a road east here, Travis. Probably getting about. I mean, they're not too horrible. The winds aren't too horrible right here where I am, but they'll deal with it. So.
Yeah, you were cutting out a little bit. What did you estimate winds at? Lost him. Well, he's still driving. That's good. We'll get back to Vaughn in a minute. Let's go back on over to radar, and here's the latest look. So again, the couplet is still hanging around the Kiowa area, and so this is still where we still have very strong winds. A lot of shear right in here, and so this is where the winds are going to be just wild. So we should have 60-mile-an-hour winds. As mentioned, maybe up to 70-mile-an-hour winds or more right in the core of that. Stacia, do you have a new storm track on that for us?
I do, Trav. So we're going to keep this moving to the east, and we'll still keep it at about 35 to 40. So
you want to give us an update on what you've been seeing as you've been headed towards Oskaloosa? That'd be great.
Hi, Ann. We are headed south on Highway 63 right now. We're having to pull over and get some gas, but the tornado-warned storm in Oskaloosa is to our south, and it will be moving up toward our area. It's going to likely go right over the Eddyville area, just to the south of Oskaloosa. So we're getting in position, trying to get some gas, but I'll try to keep the shot up to the southwest, so you can see the forward flank of that storm. The forward flank is the part of a supercell thunderstorm where the rain and the hail gets thrown to the northeast because of a strong wind shear. So that darkness that you see back to the southwest is the forward flank of that storm, and then eventually the mesocyclone, the rotating part of the storm, is going to come over us, and it may go just to our south. But again, we're getting gas right now, but we're going to head south on Highway 63 toward Eddyville very shortly. We'll send it back to you.
Okay, great, Trey. Thank you so much. We'll keep an update from him when he gets in position there. But you saw the darkening skies there from his shot as well. He was looking back down on this storm and still showing a little bit of rotation from the rotation tool that we have used. This would be just to the north and west of Albia, but just barely north of Highway 30.
Anticipate its move, since it is moving at northeast at about 50 miles an hour. So now the new estimated time of arrival for Lincoln at 5:43, that is. Colcamp at 5:50, Smithton now at 6 o'clock straight up or thereabouts, Otterville at 6:07 in the evening, and that is still within the confines of this warning set to expire at 6 o'clock straight up. But I still say for Smithton and also Otterville, stay in your safe area just in case they decide to reissue this, or it stays on the ground or actually drops on the ground, since this is all radar indicated. But that just shows you that the winds are there and there is that rotation that is still being reported by the radar itself, and also some eyewitness reports that are coming in. Neville, you were about to say something? I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just trying to switch the mode here and see if straight line wind, seeing if that was going to be more of an issue. Again, I know in Clinton we've had that report of some large trees down there. Haven't seen any additional reports as of right now. And as Nick mentioned, we are keeping an eye on that storm that's just a little to the south of Clinton. That storm is showing some potential of some rotation there, so we're monitoring. I'll go ahead and draw it on here. It'll be where you see that bright red kind of in the south central or the middle central part of your screen there, and that could make its way into Benton County. If you live in the Warsaw area and you're watching us, just want to make sure you're getting that first alert there. That's a storm we need to keep an eye on as well.
That's right. So once the line moves through, this is the cold front that we've been tracking for a while. Part of the reason why it's an alert day, because of exactly what you see going on right here, exactly what you saw also this past Sunday. So this has been a pretty volatile pattern for a while.
Tornado. Let's go back northeast.
It's not, again, a clear
east up around the Tiowa area, and this is the storm that's wrapped up. Vaughn is in it right now, and it's still going strong right in here. Vaughn, what do you have for us? What's going on at this moment? You there, Vaughn? Aaron, do we have Vaughn? Is he's offline?
He shows us online, but I think he's in an area with spotty cell coverage.
Yeah. All right. Well, it doesn't look like he's got a whole lot of wind. I can't tell. Yeah, he's got some wind whipping in there. It's a little hard to see. He's trying to get around to it. Okay, so the circulation feature is close to him near Tiowa. Here's a look at what's going on right now. It's right at Tiowa. So this would be where the strongest wind shear is located. This is where the winds are probably in excess of 60, 70 miles an hour. A lot of lightning strikes in here. We'll do a storm track in just a second, but if you're right in this area, just be advised from 4180 Road through Tiowa, that's the, and you can see, let's zoom in a little bit closer on this if you would please. So this is coming in over the city at this particular moment. Take a look at shear as well. So we just got another update on this, but this is, yeah, coming right across Tiowa, hoping that we don't get any wind damage. Vaughn's right, is he just south of that? Right? There he is, okay. Oh, I wish we could talk to him right this second. If he comes back online, Harley, would you? Okay, and so this is moving right across areas of 520. So there's going to be some damage.
As well as at Tumwa. We're still seeing a very strong thunderstorm through the Newton area as well. Marshalltown experiencing some strong winds. That's all headed right for the Belle Plaine area. Things have definitely calmed down around the city of Des Moines and areas to the west. And this is a look at all the weather alerts.
Southern portions of Pettus, northern portions of Benton County. That is the tornado warning, stays in effect for another 16. The new severe thunderstorm warning, part of that same line.
Getting more damage pictures in. These are east of Hubbard. Yeah, it doesn't look like a good situation there. So zooming back to the east here, you can see the line continues. Still have tornado warnings up and down that line. And as we look in between those tornado warnings, we're still seeing severe conditions, winds upwards of 60 to 70 miles per hour. Again, we've seen some hail today. Hail has not been the main threat, but we're at least seeing a bit. And I'm going to zoom in here a little bit, and you can see Albia. You're just on the edge of that storm now. We hop over to velocities. That couplet is still churning its way upwards towards Oskaloosa. We've got a shear tracker.
We're talking about that. We have our severe thunderstorm that's near Jinx at this moment. Additional thunderstorms south. And then once you get to the northwest, sun shining. And it's like nothing's happening. So this is that front that's coming on through the area. Back into the Tulsa area and Allen. And you see the hail core now has moved off east a little bit, just on the east, southeast sides of Jinx to the north side of Glenpool at this moment. And so this is where the hail core is most likely going to be the largest. And again, radar a little bit ago was showing some up to baseball size with that. Tennis ball is what it's warned for. It doesn't matter, tennis ball, baseball, either one would do way too much damage. And so it's crossing the Arkansas River right now, and that is going to be just off of 131st up to 101st, and so that is an area as well. So we have two monster thunderstorms right now, with the one with the tornado warning and then also the one on south side of Tulsa. Let's go back and take a look at our tornado warned storm for you guys that are around the Tiowa area, and take a look and see what we have going on with that. That is still a very windy situation, very strong winds, so hopefully it'd be nice if that would pretty much occlude on itself and stop, but that is still right in that zone. Vaughn is just staying out ahead of it at this minute. Stacia, if you would, give us another storm track on this, because this might be helping trying to kill this, but there's a new spot forming just north of Vaughn. Could be right along that outflow area. So there's going to be a lot of wind in Tiowa, and hopefully you are doing okay. Stacia, what do you have?
Yes, Travis. I mean, whether or not you get a tornado, there's still going to be probably some wind damage with this storm, so we want folks to be very careful. I'm going to track kind of the leading edge of some of those really strong winds, and we're going to move it off to the east at about 35 miles per hour. So we're going to track that over to Pryor by 6:05, Sportsman Acres right around the same time, then continue on to Boatman by 6:14. The tornado warning, that is until 6:15 for Rogers, eastern Rogers, and then parts of Mays County.
All right, we had some folks on Facebook. They were even saying, they were asking and say, hey, we're in Tiowa, we're in a storm shelter. Is it safe to come out? That storm is now moving just to your east a little bit. So hopefully you're going to be in okay shape. But there is a lot of hail that has been falling from Owasso down into the Jinx area, and depending upon your location, it continues to be very intense as far as the big thunderstorms. We do have that severe thunderstorm that is continuing until 6:30. We have the tornado warning. Brandon's near Pryor, and we've had Claremore had sirens on. Val's been out by that. I don't see if he doesn't have a shot up right now. And Vaughn is underneath of it at this particular moment. Still no words from Vaughn? Okay, interesting. So strongest winds now just coming from Tiowa. Vaughn's right along the leading edge. Let's look at his video for a second. It's stuck, but I wanted to just show. No, it came back. Let's look at Vaughn. All right, Vaughn, update from you. Vaughn, go ahead. What do you have?
Yeah, so I'm on East 520 Road. I will be east of Tiowa, and I'm starting to get some southerly wind to this, some southwesterly. So what's going on is right here to my northeast. This thing is still probably spinning, and it's just hard to see. We're in rain. I've had some pretty big hail, just a few chunks of it, but nothing substantial. Long duration in hail. But I probably had quarter size. So anyway, I'm going to try to stay up. Back to you.
All right. Yep. And the circulation is just to your west, and we've got pretty big chunks of hail showing up. Is that on Lynx 1 right there? Yes. Okay. You want to just show that for a second? That's out of Sapulpa. That's larger than golf ball size there. That'll do damage and ding a vehicle pretty bad. So that's what's been going on. All right, let's come back to radar for a second and
west
show
of
you.
Eddyville at this point. We're seeing that little area of rotation. This has been pretty persistent as it's moved to the northeast. It has weakened just a touch. You can see, not seeing that bullseye that we were seeing before, but Eddyville, shelter right now. This area of rotation heading your way. We do have eyes on it. And of course, we will take a look at that if Trey does happen to see anything touching down. But as it sits right now, there still is the potential that we see this strengthen into a tornadic situation. Not seeing any debris being lofted, which is good. Again, you can see on our storm tracker there on Trey's video, you can see the wall cloud that has been down. Again, our cloud bases are so low today. Usually we're talking, 1,000, maybe 1,200 feet. And right now we're sitting at around 500, which you get rotation. It just doesn't take much to bring that all the way down to the ground. So looking at velocities, this is continuing just on the western edge of Eddyville. I'm going to hop over to Shear. We're going to go back down street level as this is continuing to get updates for you. Again, Bussy, that rotation is east of you at this point. We're talking
this is just off to your south where this tornado warning is. Also Benton County. This would include the towns of Cole Camp, also Lincoln, where we are seeing some of that rotation. We're also keeping an eye on a storm that is a little bit farther towards the south and west. This will be east of the town of Clinton. So now we're looking back into Henry County. So I'm going to circle the area that we're monitoring closely. If you know where Deepwater is, if you live in that town, just off to your east. That's the part of the storm that we are keeping an eye on. Switching the mode on radar, you can kind of see some of that red and that green side by side. So that's what we are monitoring for you. As far as putting rotation on here, we're seeing some of that. You see some green and a little bit of red popping on there. So that would be far southeastern Henry County, parts of St. Clair County, getting ready to move into Benton County, Brian. So that's west of Warsaw. If you live in the town of Warsaw, be getting to your safe place just to play it on the safe side there. No tornado warning for you right now. We'll see if that changes. Again, certainly seeing some rotation.
Would be by 6:11, Trev.
All right, and let's go down to the other cell that's down by Jinx, if we could, and take a look. So now it's on the southwest side of Broken Arrow. John's near that storm, so it has pushed through Sapulpa with hail. The hail cores now are might have come down just a little bit as it's moved across southern, really from Jinx into southern Tulsa County, and Allen's right behind it. John's basically right in the midst of getting into some heavy stuff. John, update from you. What do you have for us? What's happening there?
Right now I'm just in heavy rain, but the sky off to the west has a eerie greenish tint to it, which usually means hail, Travis. So it's headed into the Broken Arrow area. Back to you.
All right, thanks. I appreciate that. Alan's coming in from the backside of that storm. He's been behind it. Let's go to radar for a second. I'll show you where Alan is located. So here's John. So he's in Broken Arrow, or on the north side, coming down the Broken Arrow Expressway. And then Alan's just right behind on the turnpike. And so the hail cores, it looks like they've come down a tad bit. Were you able to see anything, Alan? Is there still any hail on the ground or not?
Travis, we got several people parked underneath the bridges over here. Looks like they're dodging hail, but I haven't seen anything hit my windshield like we were earlier. Just heavy rain right now. Back to you.
All right. So if you are in these areas, we do just remember that's a dangerous thing to do. Everybody wants to protect their car, vehicle, and all that. But, man, you can't stop on a highway and can't see, and people can just run into you and then also clog the traffic. So just be careful. Try not to do that. You see where Allen's located. Here was that storm track as it moved from Sapulpa with hail core, and now it's moving to the east toward Broken Arrow. Looks like the hail's coming down a little bit. Can we look at Shear for a second, too? I'm trying to see how far south, if there's any outflow boundary, because I was trying to see if we had anything. So there isn't anything going on. And velocity data one more time, because the strongest winds are up to the north. But so far, we're not doing too bad. So that's part of the cell coming across the area. And so this time of year, you just got to watch for anything that starts to develop very quickly. And so that's what we're keeping an eye on as it's moving in Broken Arrow. Good news is, doesn't seem quite as intense as it was before. Still, though, very powerful storm coming in across Broken Arrow, and then continuing to move from Broken Arrow and then extending to the east and down toward Coetum. So this is the newest update on what's happening at this time. And most likely hail cores back toward the, not too far from where Allen is located. Station, do you have another update on that storm, if you would?
I do. We'll continue to track that hail core across the southern portions of Broken Arrow, Central Park down to Leisure Park to Warren Theater. And so we're going to track it east at about 50 miles per hour. Central Park, Warren Theater now, Leisure Park here in the next about 1 minute or so. NSUBA, if you live around there, that's going to be here in the next 5 minutes. And then Neodesha, that's going to be at 6:19, Trav.
All right, thanks. Let's go back to our tornado warning storm if we could. That's kind of wrapped up a little bit again at this point. So this is Vaughn's really close to that. This is he's circulate out right in there. This is where the comma head pretty much is located. There's a circulation feature right here. Vaughn's about 1.5 miles away from it. Hey, Vaughn, are you there where you can talk for a minute?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, you're pretty close to circulation, which is just to your north and west, about 1.5 miles. What do you have?
Yeah, I've gotten some reports from some friends that live around Claremore. He's got a big tree down on his yard. I'm trying to find the actual physical location of that. But there has been some strong winds. He said there was rotation when it came over his house.
Yeah.
And really, really strong winds. So I'm waiting to find out that location, and as soon as I do, I'll let you know.
Okay. Hey, thanks. Appreciate that.
1.5 inch size hail, so some larger hail within the cell as this storm moves out of the Jones County area. It is just off to the west of Anamosa, just off to the, or east of Anamosa rather, west of the city of Wyoming, just south of Monticello at the present time. Movement on this system, we'll take a look, and we'll put a storm track on for you, and then we'll head farther south and storm track that cell as well as it was moving across areas of Washington County. Moving off to the northeast at about 60. So they have all been consistent, whether they're part of that line or just developing, moving right around 60 miles per hour. So let's go ahead and take this and project it out with the potential for some strong winds.
It's just now concentrated. At one time during our 4 o'clock and 5 o'clock newscast, we had the whole line that was populated with severe thunderstorm warnings. Now it's just the extreme southern portion of the line itself that still shows at least some of the more ragged echoes that we see here and some that have a little indentation. Those are the ones we still have to watch and to monitor.
Tama County here, LaPorte, you would be next in line, and this is eventually getting out of our viewing area for here in central Iowa, but Tama County still included in that tornado warning. So want to keep our eyes on that. We haven't gotten, I don't think, any updates from anything from that cell, but we still have, again, the wall cloud from the storm in Oskaloosa. So let me go back down to that cell for us here because we still have Trey's shot. It looks like it's raining right now where he is, so it has, again, right passing over Oskaloosa currently, so that's what you see in the picture at the bottom of your screen there. That's from Trey. Heavy rain, probably quite a bit of lightning and thunder, and some potential there for some hail inside this storm. We'll go back to the impact tool that we have. Still indicating some winds, maybe upwards of 50 to 60 mile per hour winds inside this storm, but also that hail upwards of 1 inch in diameter. So there's the potential for some stronger to severe hail inside this storm. Rotation, we'll see if we got any new with the new scans, if we see anything strengthening or weakening, and it's really just kind of maintaining its strength here. It's not weakening, at least from what I can tell, or strengthening by this tool from our rotation tracker. So there is still some rotation just south of Oskaloosa, basically stretching along Highway 63 from Eddyville up to Oskaloosa, and we
section coming up here, so kind of interesting. Okay, Stacey, do you have another storm track for us there?
I do. On this circulation that's now, again, west of Pryor, Trav, Vaughn, Val covering it at this point, along with Brandon Wells. And so for Pryor, here in the next about 7 minutes, 6:04 for you. Boatman still around 6:15, continuing on to Lake Hudson by 6:16 as well. And then for Hoot Owl and Strang, you're looking at around 6:20. So the tornado warning does continue for Mays County. It includes Pryor, Sportsman Acres. You're on the southern edge of this tornado warning. Right now that circulation is just west of Pryor, and it's moving to the east at about 40. So in our track, we have Salina, Boatman, Lake Hudson, Hoot Owl, Spavinaw, and Strang. For Strang and Spavinaw, that's about 30 minutes, but for Pryor, here in the next about 4 minutes.
Okay, thanks, Stacia. I appreciate that. So that's what we're looking for. Thanks. And so that's still going on. Yep, Val and Vaughn are about as close as you can get there. And then Brandon is off to the east. Hey, Aaron, let's widen out.
From this, but I want to hop back over to our velocity tracker, and you can see, well, I guess I wouldn't say you're in the clear from this. That couplet is just on the southeastern edge of town. So I would shelter, make sure you're getting to safety. Let's make sure there's no debris here.
We are already feeling some powerful wind gusts out there. Even when the sun was shining just about an hour ago, we saw a few branches down. Of course, now skies are becoming darker as that line of storms approaches. Thanks for joining us at 6. I'm Morgan Otier, and we want to get to Chief Meteorologist Eric Maitland. Eric, of course, it is a first alert day. There's a lot to keep our eyes on.
Yeah, that's right. So now thunderstorms are rapidly developing across the area. We've gone from nothing to radar starting to fill up. And we do have our first warning now. This is a severe thunderstorm warning, but it does have the considerable damage tag because look at that. Wind speed potential with this storm, 70 miles per hour. This is for Henry County in the TV6 viewing area and adjacent areas north and west. This warning will go to 645. And as we look at the path of this storm, which will bring it into Louisa County and Muscatine County, I have no doubt that this will hold together. We're looking at an arrival time of 6:09 in Stockport. Mount Pleasant, 6:23. So you have a few minutes, but you really want to take shelter soon. And if you have anything on the yard that could blow away, any lawn furniture that you want to take care of, do that immediately. Only take about a minute. Of course, we've got a first alert day going.
Storm down near Oskaloosa. I do want to continue to scoot down here, and it looks like that storm that we had south of the border, the tornado warning has expired on that. So that's good as the storm crosses over into Iowa. Hopefully it continues to not have that rotational component, and that's not something we'll have to worry about. Still likely some strong winds associated with that, though. So areas to the southeast, areas like Bloomfield eventually are going to be impacted by this storm.
Today's situation is a particularly dangerous situation. That's why we have a PDS tornado watch out until 9. That means numerous EF2 plus tornadoes are a potential for this evening. If you haven't already, download the QC weather app and set those localized settings. Tornadoes with up to 130 mile per hour winds, if not more, likely tonight. At least a few of those. That's not going to be a widespread threat. It's going to be the winds gusting over 80 miles.
As well as tornado warnings that we're continuing to watch unfold. Really just a mess of them. You can see that storm near Grinnell, kind of a curious little dip in that. We'll take a look at velocities. Doesn't appear to be rotating right now, which is good news, but we'll have to keep an eye on that one as well. I'm looking at a couple different tools here. You can see maybe some broad rotation just to the south of Grinnell. Otherwise, we've got a core of really strong winds east of Grinnell. So I'm going to zoom back in on that. We'll get an idea of just how strong these winds are. But again, another situation where even if we don't have something tornadic, we could be dealing with some fairly damaging straight-lined winds. So that's along Highway 6, working its way east out of Grinnell. You can see those winds. These are sitting around 40 to 50 miles per hour. So that's good. That's good that we're not seeing anything stronger than that right now.
That's where the heaviest seems to be, and those are still pushing farther to the east and northeast. At least the individual cells themselves are moving at about 50 miles an hour, although the line is continuing at a turtle's pace, moving from west to east. But as mentioned, looks great for the metro. Things are calm. Even about as we were talking about, I was going to be very surprised if all the counties that were under that tornado watch were going to stay under the tornado watch until 10 o'clock. So that's the good news there. As mentioned, also, we still see that Trenton, Chillicothe, that was one of the tornado warnings, or just to the east and northeast of you up toward Mercer County. That was one that Laura was just talking about. And we had a couple other ones here and there, and there are a couple cells that were a little more suspect that we had to go to. But nonetheless, this line is continuing to push away, and my colleague Neville Miller has been at it as well. With team coverage, he continues. Neville.
All right, Brian, and as you mentioned, those thunderstorms are making their way out of the area. Some good news there.
But he does not have big-time hail at this particular moment. Hey, Bob, just a quick update from you. So far, other than getting into some big storms up around the Nowata area, have you had anything else going on?
Yeah, when I was up near Welch, there was a cell that really tried to intensify and develop some rotation, but it just couldn't get itself going. So I'm back down on Highway 60 headed towards Grove in moderate rain. Back to you, Travis.
All right, thanks. I appreciate that. So once again, we still have our severe thunderstorm warnings in effect, but the tornado warning now is out of the picture. So that is good news. So we do not have any strong circulation features at this particular moment. We do have it's still looking a little bit. I mean, it's still rotating storm, so it hasn't changed. It's moving in on Pryor right now, but you see the velocities
now from Marshalltown westward is starting to decrease considerably. Ames, Fort Dodge, Algona westward, you're totally in the clear at this point, but still quite a few strong storms that we're seeing working their way upwards towards Waterloo.
Sedalia on 65 Highway, you're looking south
at that thunderstorm that is weakening southeast of Sedalia. So that's good. That's moving out of Pettis County. And once it moves out, we can give you the all clear for the county. There are storms that are farther to the south of Sedalia that are stronger, but those are going to stay over Benton County. So those are going to remain to the south of Pettis County and Sedalia. That's the latest from Storm Tracker 9. We'll send it back to you.
And right now we're closely watching power outages across the metro. This is a live look at Evergy's outage map. You can see nearly 500 homes are without power
picking up
right
winds
now.
To forward and away from the radar at the surface, but still potent. I mean, we've got a decent little core to the storm. Again, south of New Sharon, wouldn't doubt that we're seeing some spots with some decent hail. You can see that hail core there. This typically runs around a ½ inch to an inch high on its hail estimations, but still directly around an inch and a half, maybe inch hail associated with that storm pushing northeastward. And you go a little bit further to the north, and we're continuing to see more storms that are pushing their way on through. I think my controller died, and so.
I think we're okay. Well, I think they want to start the 6 p.m. news, Jason. So we're going to obviously keep our eyes on this storm and see if it does maybe strengthen a bit. We've got Trey on it as well. But that's our one active tornado warning that we have going in our viewing area. So we'll keep a close eye on this, Jason and I will, and then I'll send it over to Ben and Stacy.
All right, and this is a KCCI Storm Team 8 Weather Alert Day. And our Storm Team 8 coverage continues right now. Tornadoes popped up all over our state, including near Corning. That tornado was powerful enough to topple these wind turbines. Take a look, just bent these things in half, sending smoke billowing into the air.
And let's take a look at video of that tornado. KCCI Storm Chaser was there. This was just a couple of hours ago. Those wisps you see at the bottom are multiple vortices. That means it's packing some significant strength.
And here is a picture of a very large tornado near Orient, just south of Greenfield, one of many this storm has produced this afternoon.
And this is a possible tornado we're about to see picked up by a traffic camera near Nevada. You can see it here crossing Highway 30. We're working to learn if there was anyone hurt or any damage.
It has been an active weather day. That's why we are weather alert. We are hearing of damage to the Mercy Hospital in Adair. It's been evacuated. We don't know if anyone is hurt at this time.
Yeah, it's really one of those days to where so many parts of our viewing area impacted by the severe weather. We want to make sure you know what's going on in your neighborhood right now. That's why we have a whole team showing you the aftermath of this outbreak. And we start with KCCI's Ophelia Jacobson in Greenfield. Ophelia, we've seen the pictures. It does not look good there.
Yeah, Stacy, it really isn't good news out of Greenfield. This is a central Iowa town of just over 2,000 people. And just hours after the storm, now that the clouds have rolled on, we are really starting to see just the extent of this damage. We have a family right behind me who is currently just rummaging through what used to be their home, trying to find anything and salvage anything they can. We saw them find their guitar. That must mean a lot to them. And, you know, we have cleanup crews passing by, push some of that debris away, push some of those fallen trees. We have power lines that have just been toppled over, cars that have just been smashed, and tractors that have also been flipped upside down as well. It's really a terrible scene here in Greenfield. We've seen multiple fire crews here. We do know KCCI has confirmed that multiple counties, surrounding counties, have sent in deputies from their sheriff departments to help with cleanup, and KCCI has been on the ground talking to families whose entire lives were uplifted, and they just say they are thankful that they are alive.
I've lived here all my life. I'm just praying that everybody was safe, everybody's safe and nobody got hurt.
Do you know of anybody you know who's hurt or still missing?
Not yet. I haven't heard of anybody, but I'm just keep hearing all over the place that houses are down. Even all the new houses out by the lake are down.
Is there anything else you feel like we should know?
I just want to thank God for keeping us safe and everybody coming together to help. It was scary, very scary.
And what she said about people coming together to help, we saw, people carrying cases of water throughout town. We also saw, again, multiple fire crews and sheriff's departments coming in to help. Just really everyone's in shock right now. Again, just making sure everyone is okay. A lot of people have told me that this can all be replaced, that their family members are what is most important to them. And from the people that we've spoken to, everyone has been accounted for. We'll send it back to you guys in Greenfield. Ophelia Jacobson, KCCI 8 News, Iowa's news leader.
Okay, Ophelia, thank you. The emotion's so raw right now, and people just starting to comprehend what's ahead as far as cleanup and everything is concerned. Zane and Trey, they've been tracking this storm and Storm Chaser throughout the day.
Yeah, I've caught some tornadoes on camera for us too. Let's start with Zane. Zane, where are you? Greenfield tonight, what are you seeing?
Hi, Stacy. Hi, Ben. Yeah, you heard from Ophelia a moment ago. It's just surreal to be here right now. Robbie Rissman and I were down here in Greenfield, actually just when we were storm chasing. Not too long before we saw one of those tornadoes that was down in parts of Adams and Adair counties here. What you're seeing in Robbie's shot is the intersection of Highway 25 and Highway 92 right on the east side of Greenfield. We're in the Casey's parking lot, which has been battered up pretty bad. There's no power at the gas station. The awning's pretty messed up. There's a lot of metal and then wood and everything else that's been thrown around. Some of this spot was actually used to evacuate a lot of those folks you mentioned earlier out of the Adair County Hospital, which is right kitty corner from us on the other side of the intersection, just a little ways down on the east side of town. We smelled a lot of gas, that natural gas smell when we got here a little while earlier this afternoon, and it is a really, really rough situation. You might be able to see above the hospital there's a medevac helicopter still flying around. We've seen multiple of at least one of those multiple times here this evening. Just several blocks on the east side of Greenfield are severely damaged, like you saw from Ophelia a little while ago, but like she also mentioned, there is a ton of law enforcement, a ton of first responders who are here in town trying to get everybody safe. We saw earlier they're still checking for people. They're going house to house, marking them with either an X or an OK or something like that to show that they've checked that house. There's no one in there. There's no one trapped. There's no one missing. So it's still very much a sort of search and rescue operation. At least it seems like right now here in Greenfield, this town has been hit pretty bad. That's the current situation right now. Live in Greenfield, Zane Satry, KCCI 8 News, Iowa's news leader.
And Zane, we are headed back north now out of Ottumwa. We were following a tornado warning storm there, but we also saw the tornado as it was forming southwest of Greenfield earlier. This was a very substantial tornado, a very strong upward motion around the side of it. We saw it in Storm Chaser, but it was very difficult to see after a while because the tornado shrouded in rain and was lifting to the north in town and went through town rain wrapped. I'm going to show you where we are right now. We are out, we are just pulled over on the side now of Highway 63, moving north out of the city of Ottumwa. The storm that had been tornado warned, where we had a wall cloud on it, has weakened considerably. All we saw pretty much out of that cell was a rotating wall cloud. I mean, we had some very strong winds come out of the backside of that storm. So our plan right now, we're headed back toward the Des Moines metro area. It looks like the worst of these storms are clearing out of southern and southeast Iowa now. Meteorologist Trey Fulbright, KCCI 8 News, Iowa's news leader.
I want to thank Zane and Trey for those updates. KCCI's Bo Bowman is live near Newton tonight. And Bo, what are you seeing there?
Well, Ben, we're on the west side of Newton in the area that's known as Lamb's Grove, and this is where that area of rotation that Jason was pointing out on the radar came through on the west side of Newton here. You can see some downed trees on these power lines. Across the street, a very large tree fell down in this yard. That's the extent.
Travis, right there in the center of the shot, little thing sticking down, but it looked like a funnel just a little bit ago. We're going to keep watching it.
Yeah, right along that leading edge, there are several areas that should be pretty scary looking associated with that, just because it is very ragtag and there is circulation and a lot just a lot of different velocities showing up and shear right in that vicinity. Southeast of Pryor, down now over to Sportsman Acre. So you guys, boy, we've mentioned a lot of these towns over the course of time, but
Lake
you guys
is
are still
very flooded. They had to evacuate about the first row of campers that were there. They got everybody out about 7 a.m. this morning when that storm rolled through. We did talk to one guy who lives on the lake in a cabin, and he said he's never seen the creek flood this much before.
All the docks are out over in front of my cabin over here. All the pontoons, you can't even get to the pontoons because the docks are all way out in the water now. So yeah, it's pretty well flooded.
Yeah. So right here in Jasper County, a lot of tree damage. We haven't seen much property damage. We did see, as we were driving this way, just north of Kellogg, an outbuilding fly from its spot in the field. It flew to the east, so that was pretty concerning to watch that happen. But right now, just a lot of tree damage, a lot of superficial damage, but still a lot of cleanup work to be done. I know in the city of Kellogg, they are dealing with some major flooding as well. The North Skunk River has spilled over about at least 500 feet in either direction of its banks. We talked to some people sandbagging there. They were waiting for this storm to roll through to figure out where they were going to put those sandbags, and they're dealing with that issue right now just about 10 miles east of here. We're live in Newton. Bo Bowman, KCCI 8 News, Iowa's news leader.
Okay, Bo, thank you. We know a lot of areas also saw hail with this line of storms. This is pictures from Creston. Tanner Royster sent us in
Clinton and Jones County. This severe thunderstorm warning goes till 6:45. Storm winds around 60, but we are noticing, and I put this on the screen here, a little bit of circulation just to the east of Tipton there. That could be some rotation, and the Weather Service is considering watching this to determine, they are certainly watching this, but they're going to consider issuing a tornado warning with that system, and that's a storm that's moving at 65 miles per hour, as are all our thunderstorms. So we've got this line to get through during the evening here. And again,
you look at the storms that we have right now north of Watcher. Thankfully, that tornado warning has been allowed to expire. We still have at least some broad rotation on it, but again, it hasn't been strong enough for them to reissue this. We'll have to keep an eye on it, though, with that broad rotation being there. That said, a lot of the storm activity has surged to the east. We still have a line southeast of the metro near Pella, all the way down to around Centerville. That's been pushing eastward as well. That is sub-severe at this point. So good news there. Really, if you're Pella westward, the threat has decreased, and we're putting the all clear out for you, but you can see some of these storms still rumblers up near Pella down through Knoxville. And as we make our way a little bit further to the north, of course, there's the storm we had eyes on a little bit ago. Looking at velocities here, we still have some strong winds in these, and that's why we still have some severe thunderstorm warnings associated with these. So strong winds working their way towards Belle Plaine. Strongest, though, up near LaPorte City. Again, this one had a tornado warning on it for a bit, but winds 60 to 70 miles per hour possible with this. So just to keep an eye on what all happened today, if we turn off the radar and zoom out, storm reports are really impressive. You can see all of the tornado and funnel reports we had to the southwest, and then we've got wind damage reports through the metro as well as tornado reports. And as these made their way to the east, still hail reports and wind damage reports. I mean, this is one of those horrible days that you just hope doesn't happen, but we watched that line of storms trek its way all the way through. It started up west of Council Bluffs into portions of Omaha, and as soon as those storms fired up, started to see funnels produced from those, tornadoes produced from those, and as they made their way to the east, you can see this area right here where we've got all these houses with water, that's flooding. That's the area that's been the most saturated. You get areas like that, and it's pretty easy for trees to even fall down as the soil is so wet. There's nothing really holding that tree in there anymore. And again, we've seen a lot of that through northeastern portions of the state as well. But thankfully, that severe threat is continuing to the east, and we're looking at a much quieter night ahead.
That's good to hear, Jason. We know a lot of cleanup needs to happen. We heard you and Ann talk about the strong winds throughout the day. They certainly packed a punch. Maria Calhoun sent us this picture from Clive. You see that tree there, not just knocked over by the powerful winds, but it looks like it's completely uprooted.
And those winds took down trees and took down power lines. These are the current power outages from Mid-American Energy. 25,000 homes in the Des Moines area are without power right now. The map on your screen breaks down the outages city by city. Most of those outages are being reported in Ankeny, Johnston, and Des Moines. Mid-American does have crews out now trying to restore power. And we are weather alert today because of the severe storms and the tornadoes we saw earlier today. Those storms have now moved through, leaving behind a whole lot of damage.
Yeah, and just the video coming out of and the images of Greenfield and Adair, I mean, a county have been difficult to digest. Our Ophelia Jacobson is on the ground there for us now with more on what she's seeing. Ophelia?
Yeah, Ben, Stacy, we've kind of switched locations here just to get a more wide scope of the damage that we're seeing. I want to show you this tree that was completely uprooted from the ground due to that tornado earlier this afternoon. And just these houses have been completely damaged by the storm. We've seen multiple fire trucks coming through, multiple crews on the scene working to do whatever they can to help with that damage cleanup and to just comfort these people that have lost so much. We've also seen, you know, this street light right behind me just completely snapped in half. It's just incredible what these powerful winds did here in Greenfield. And people are just, again, in the preliminary hours after this storm kind of passed through, people are just rummaging through what they can find from what was left behind. I mean, just this house looks like a disaster, and it's just terrible to see all this damage that we're seeing here in Greenfield today. A lot of work ahead, but people say that they are thankful their family and friends are alive. And we know it's going to be a long road ahead, but we know that multiple crews and fire departments and sheriff departments have also been here helping from surrounding counties, so they definitely have the support they'll need in the coming days. Live in Greenfield, Ophelia Jacobson, KCCI 8 News, Iowa's news leader.
Yeah, we're certainly thanking and praying of those folks right now. Ophelia, thank you. We've been in wall-to-wall coverage since about 3 this afternoon. Jason and Ann have spent that time tracking these storms and their strength.
That's right, and warning people days in advance too to keep everybody safe as this system progressed. Jason, what do we need to know now?
Yeah, so thankfully that threat is moving past the area now. You can still see some spots to the east where we've got storms, again, strong to severe storms working their way into Cedar Rapids.
This is starting to look a little bit more concerning. So we could get some wind damage right in here. So east of Sportsman Acre, and just as Stacia was talking about, this is the area that we're going to have to keep an eye on what's going on. So again, it's peaking a little bit right in here. And so we do know that that's a rotating area that's stuck in there. And Brandon is kind of in the midst of probably trees and stuff. Hey, Brandon, I'm just going to ask you real quick, what do you have for winds? What's going on with your area right now?
Well, Travis, when we were back there near 69 and 412 near Shoto, we had about 45, 50 mile an hour winds, but since we've come out ahead of this,
safe out of this, as we do have a little bit of a couplet there. Our shear tracker, though, not extremely excited about it. Again, that's likely elevated rotation that we're seeing out of that right now. But with what we've seen today, man, it's hard to see something like that and not tell people to get back to the basement. You can see areas near Milton still seeing some showers as well. I'm going to hop back out statewide so I can zoom in on some of the activity that we have to the east, but still dealing with some rumblers making their way towards Cedar Rapids. And again, this is just to the northeast of Grinnell, Toledo area along Highway 30. Really potent storm working its way towards Keystone Belle Plain area. Strong winds associated with this. Look at that core of winds. We've had reports of winds in excess of 70 miles out there today, 70 miles per hour, excuse me. And right now we're likely seeing around 60, I would say, for the core of this storm, 60 to 70. Again, this is a little elevated, so that may not be totally accurate with what we're seeing, but still dealing with quite a bit of activity out there. Storm working its way up towards LaPorte City as well as Gilbertville. These have tapered back some. Largely looking at a wind threat right now as these have pushed their way on through. Hail's even tapered back a bit. Again, we're getting a little bit later in the day. So some of that heating that we've experienced throughout the day, again, has started to lessen. and that has made for weakening conditions and not as ample of an environment for these storms. But more storms from Grinnell all the way down into Missouri. Though they're not severe, they're likely putting down a little bit of rain, which we just don't need at this point, as we've seen quite a bit of that. So looking at the rain that has fallen, though, we've had quite a few locations that you look out near Newton, upwards towards Eldora. There is a core of rain here that trekked all the way across the state that has been very strong. So zooming out a little bit further, again, we still have that flood watch. I know this is a mess of a map, pardon me. I didn't have a lot of time to modify it, but Ann, it looks like things have tapered back and they've started to scale down this tornado watch.
Yeah, a lot of our viewing area, a lot of western or all of western and into portions of central Iowa have been trimmed from that tornado watch. So the tornado watch now only exists for areas east of I-35. The flood watch, though, still in play until at least 7 o'clock. It may, potentially, maybe the National Weather Service will expand that. We had some areas of localized flooding that we've been talking about, but for now, that flood watch goes until 7 o'clock this evening. Temperatures much cooler, starting to feel a little bit better out there thanks to the rain-cooled air, especially back towards western Iowa. Sitting in the mid-70s right now here in Des Moines. We're in the 60s out towards Atlantic, and Carroll still hanging on to the 70s and 80s the further east you go, where the storms haven't quite reached eastern Iowa just yet. This is what it looks like tonight, though. Again, that line of storms was basically it. So the rest of tonight should be much quieter and much more at ease here for everyone here in western and central Iowa. We still have the storms pushing through eastern Iowa. Eventually those shift off into Illinois. Maybe we get some leftover activity across northern or western Iowa late tonight. Early tomorrow morning, we've got some clouds lingering, but then eventually we do see clearing as we get into the day on Wednesday, maybe a brief shower in the morning, and then we're talking more sunshine here going into Wednesday afternoon. Tonight, though, we're talking upper 40s to low 50s. Tomorrow's forecast takes us back down into the low to mid 70s. Half of the day tomorrow. We're talking 8-day forecast for you, low 80s on Thursday.
This is still hanging in there, so we just want you to make sure he's there, possibly.
He does have a shot of the leading edge of it right now, so we can look at what he has.
Let's look. Let's take a look at what Brandon has just for a shot and see what it looks like. So this is what's coming in. It's really hard to see, but heavy rains and, of course, some hail is associated with that storm, so do be advised for what's going on there. Heavy rain thunderstorms with severe thunderstorms continuing across the area, and so we're going to continue to keep you updated. We are going to take a break here in just a few moments, and then we'll be back with more coverage of severe weather. But right now, again, severe thunderstorms. So let's take a look at radar one more time.
Also into Louisa County, Iowa, especially, which is where that strongest part of that storm is right now. Everything moving to the north and east here at about 65 miles per hour. More storms coming into Henry County, Iowa, south of Mount Pleasant. And then we look to the north, and we've got a storm with a possible tornado. At least that's what we've got, some rotation in that storm. That's getting out of Cedar County now, getting into western portions of Clinton and Jackson County. Of course, this is just the beginning, so in the next few hours these storms will be moving fast, so if you do get a warning, you'll want to take shelter immediately.
Yeah, lots to look out for tonight. Eric, thank you, and thank you so much for watching your news at 6. Tonight's hellos come from this weekend's Earth Day event. Have a great night.